Begin by drawing a deep, slow, and intentional breath in, feeling the cool, calming air fill your lungs, and let it out with a gentle, releasing sigh that carries away the lingering tensions of your day. Allow your physical body to sink deeply and completely into the welcoming softness of your surroundings, feeling the quiet, reassuring embrace of the comfortable space around you. Close your eyes, and as you do, allow your mind to gently conjure the image of a vast, sprawling metropolis just at the exact moment the active day begins to surrender gracefully to the quiet evening. The sky above this grand, sweeping city is a magnificent, boundless canvas, painted with the softening, fading hues of a perfect twilight. Streaks of warm amber, burnt orange, and deep gold stretch lazily across the distant horizon, slowly and steadily giving way to the cool, calming shades of twilight blue, soft violet, and a rich, velvety indigo that descends from the highest reaches of the atmosphere. The sun, having faithfully completed its long arc across the sky, dips low behind the silhouette of the skyline, casting long, gentle shadows that seem to stretch and stretch, wrapping the world below in a comforting, cooling blanket of approaching night. This is the magical hour of transition, a deeply peaceful threshold suspended between the bustling, vibrant energy of the daylight and the quiet, restorative stillness of the dark. As the light softens into a soothing dusk, so too does the rhythm of your own breathing, naturally slowing down to match the steady, peaceful descent of the sun. The air cools slightly, carrying with it a profound, settling sense of calm that falls gently over the empty streets, the towering buildings, and the quiet natural spaces woven intricately throughout the urban landscape. Everything in this world is slowing down, easing effortlessly into a state of profound rest, and you are warmly invited to join in this collective exhale, letting go of all the demands, the racing thoughts, and the busy frequencies of your waking life, allowing yourself to simply exist in this beautiful, fading light. Below this breathtaking celestial display, the city itself slowly transforms, revealing a breathtaking network of interconnected life, structure, and silent harmony. One by one, soft, warm golden lights begin to blink on across the sprawling, geometric grid of the streets, resembling a vast, shimmering constellation of stars brought gently down to earth. These gentle lights illuminate the thousands of windows of tall, elegant skyscrapers that reach up like protective giants into the cooling sky, their smooth glass facades perfectly reflecting the fading, watercolor hues of the twilight. Street lamps flicker to life in long, continuous ribbons of light, tracing the meandering paths of roads, boulevards, and avenues, creating glowing, winding veins that pulse with a slow, sleepy rhythm. A wide, tranquil river flows smoothly through the very heart of the city, its dark surface as smooth and undisturbed as polished glass, perfectly mirroring the twinkling city lights and the deepening, darkening heavens above. Spanning this gentle, winding water are magnificent, sweeping bridges, their elegant arches and thick, suspended steel cables forming beautiful, intricate silhouettes against the last glowing embers of the sunset. They stand as enduring monuments of connection, holding space and bearing weight effortlessly in the cooling night air. The ambient sounds of the metropolis, which were once a vibrant, chaotic hum of daytime activity, now mellow and dissolve into a soft, distant, and rhythmic whisper, creating a white noise lullaby of distant movement that is deeply soothing and comforting to the ear. You are entirely safe here, positioned at a comfortable, peaceful distance, observing this grand, complex tapestry of civilization as it prepares for its nightly slumber. The heavy weight of the waking world lifts from your shoulders, replaced entirely by an overwhelming sense of tranquility and security, as you watch the beautiful city breathe in the cool night air and exhale the lingering heat of the day. As you rest deeply in this state of peaceful observation, allow your relaxed mind to drift gently toward the unseen, magnificent forces that make such a tranquil, secure moment possible. This profound sense of safety you feel, the reliable, steady glow of the streetlights cutting through the dark, the unwavering, monumental strength of the bridges spanning the deep waters, and the quiet, structural comfort of the buildings that shelter millions of resting souls are not the result of mere chance or accident. They are the magnificent, quiet triumphs of engineering. Engineering is the silent, foundational force that hums softly beneath the very surface of our modern world, a deeply benevolent and invisible presence that works tirelessly and flawlessly while we wake and while we sleep. It is the invisible, unbreakable threading that holds the complex fabric of civilization together in a tapestry of safety and function. Consider the pure, clean water that flows silently through unseen, subterranean channels, the invisible, humming currents of electricity that travel safely across vast, winding distances to bring warmth and illumination, and the immense, perfectly calculated strength embedded deeply in every single beam of steel and every solid block of poured concrete. The countless engineers who meticulously designed this environment are like silent, watchful guardians, their good intentions and careful thoughts woven permanently into the very physical structures that surround us. They have mathematically calculated the unpredictable forces of nature, anticipated the heavy weight of the winds and rains, and measured the profound depths of the earth, all to ensure that when the dark night falls, the world remains entirely secure and unshaken. This vast, sleeping city is a glorious testament to human ingenuity and care, a physical, tangible manifestation of precision, foresight, and protective duty. It is a structural embrace, meticulously designed over generations to safeguard the delicate, fragile lives resting within its borders, allowing you to let down your guard completely, to release your muscles, and to trust implicitly in the steadfast, enduring reliability of the built environment. Yet, the true, enduring foundation of this magnificent, resting city is not constructed merely from cold steel, reflective glass, and heavy concrete. The deepest, most vital bedrock upon which all this physical safety rests is forged from something intangible, yet infinitely stronger and more enduring. It is built solidly upon the guiding, moral principles of ethics, equity, and law. As you sink even deeper into a state of profound, heavy relaxation, we will embark on a gentle, meditative journey through these very concepts, exploring the deep philosophical heart that beats within the discipline of engineering. We will wander slowly through the quiet, contemplative corridors of ethical thought, where the unwavering moral compass of the engineer ensures that every single creation serves the greater good, holding public welfare, safety, and health as the highest, most sacred, and non-negotiable obligation. We will drift peacefully along the inclusive, welcoming pathways of equity, understanding deeply how true engineering strives to build a world that is universally accessible, fair, and just for all people, ensuring that the shelter, comfort, and safety of the built environment are a collective comfort shared by every single soul, leaving absolutely no one exposed to the harsh elements of inequality or neglect. And we will rest comfortably in the structured, protective, and organized embrace of the law, the careful, meticulously drafted framework of rules, codes, and regulations that binds all these physical creations to our shared societal values, ensuring strict accountability, reliability, and unwavering trust in every single calculation and design. These three foundational pillars, ethics, equity, and law, are the quiet, vigilant sentinels that stand watch over the sleeping city, the true, unseen guardians of the night. They are the solemn promises made by dedicated creators to the society they serve, forming an invisible, unbreakable covenant that allows you to close your eyes and sleep peacefully, knowing that the complex systems surrounding you are guided by profound integrity, deep fairness, and steadfast justice. So, let your physical body become even heavier now, melting completely into the supportive surface beneath you. Let your mind become entirely open, smooth, and serene, ready to float effortlessly through this beautiful, abstract landscape of ideas and ideals. As the night deepens, the stars brighten, and the vast city sleeps securely, allow the soothing, rhythmic truth of these foundational principles to wash over you in gentle waves, carrying you softly and safely into a restorative, deep, and uninterrupted slumber, perfectly safe in the comforting knowledge that the world is securely held together by thoughtful care, ethical duty, and an unwavering, quiet commitment to the absolute good of all. Take a long, slow breath in, and as you gently release the air, allow your body to sink deeply into the comfort of where you are resting. Close your eyes, and let the heavy thoughts of the day drift softly away, floating like solitary leaves on a slow, winding river. Tonight, we are stepping away from the bustling noise of the modern world, away from the endless notifications and the complex webs of our daily lives. We are wandering into the calm, quiet realm of philosophical thought, exploring the foundational roots of how we live together in harmony. We will explore the gentle dawn of the social contract, and the ideas of a thinker named Thomas Hobbes, who looked at the human condition and sought a way to bring us out of fear and into lasting peace. As you continue to breathe in, softly and deeply, and breathe out, slowly and completely, let your muscles relax. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Feel the mattress supporting you, a silent agreement between you and the space around you, keeping you secure as you prepare to rest. In the quiet corridors of philosophy, there is a concept known as the state of nature. Imagine a vast, untouched wilderness. The air is cool and still, and the landscape stretches out endlessly in every direction, painted in the soft colors of twilight. In this quiet, ancient place, there are no cities, no roads, and no fences. There are no laws, no rulers, and no rules to bind anyone. Every individual wanders this landscape with absolute, unbounded freedom. You can go wherever you please, and do whatever you wish. It sounds, at first, like a beautiful kind of liberty. But Thomas Hobbes, observing this hypothetical wilderness, saw the heavy, exhausting burden of this absolute freedom. In this state of nature, because there are no rules to protect anyone, every single person must be constantly awake, constantly vigilant, and constantly on guard. If you gather food, you must protect it yourself. If you build a small shelter, you must stay awake to defend it. The quiet wilderness is steeped in a subtle, persistent anxiety. There is no one to call for help, and no promise that tomorrow will be safe. Breathe deeply into that thought, and feel the exhaustion of having to protect everything entirely on your own. It is a lonely freedom that keeps the mind racing and the heart beating just a little too fast, preventing the restful sleep that we all so desperately crave. Hobbes understood that human beings are, at their core, rational creatures. We are capable of looking at this vast, tiring state of nature and realizing that constant vigilance is simply too heavy a burden to carry forever. We yearn for rest. We yearn for the quiet comfort of closing our eyes without fear. And so, we encounter a gentle puzzle, a situation often described by modern thinkers as the prisoner's dilemma. Imagine two wanderers in this vast wilderness, meeting across a softly babbling brook. Both are tired. Both are carrying heavy loads of gathered wood and food. They look at one another, and in their minds, a quiet calculation begins. If one lays down their guard and the other does not, the defenseless one might lose everything. It seems safest, in the short term, to remain guarded, to keep the walls up, to refuse cooperation out of self-protection. This is the dilemma. The most rational choice for individual survival seems to be mistrust. But if both wanderers remain guarded, they both remain exhausted. They cannot combine their wood to build a larger, warmer fire. They cannot take turns sleeping, meaning neither of them will ever truly rest. The dilemma traps them in a cycle of solitary self-preservation that serves neither of them well. As you lie here, safe and warm, think about the immense courage it takes to be the first one to lower your guard. Breathe in courage, and breathe out fear. In our gentle story by the brook, the two rational wanderers realize that the only way to break the exhausting cycle of the prisoner's dilemma is to make a choice together. They must communicate. They must step forward and make a promise. This quiet, profound agreement is the birth of the social contract. Contractarianism is simply the calming philosophy that our moral rules, our laws, and our ideas of right and wrong are not imposed upon us from some harsh, external force, but are instead the result of a mutual agreement among rational people who simply want to live in peace. The wanderers look at each other, and they agree to lay down their weapons. They agree not to take from one another. They agree to share the burden of keeping watch. In that very moment, as the agreement is made, a profound, sweeping wave of relief washes over the landscape. The dark clouds of constant fear begin to part, revealing the soft, starlit sky of cooperation and trust. Feel that relief in your own body now. Feel the tension leaving your arms and your legs, just as the wanderers felt the tension leave their bodies when they realized they did not have to survive completely alone. With this peaceful agreement in place, the world begins to change slowly, softly, and beautifully. In the fearful state of nature, it made no sense to plant a seed in the ground. Why would anyone spend the time and energy tilling the soil, watering a delicate sprout, and waiting months for a harvest, if another wanderer could simply come along and take it before it bloomed? The fear of the unknown kept individuals moving, gathering only what they could carry, never putting down roots. But now, under the warm, protective blanket of the social contract, time slows down. The promise of mutual protection allows for patience. The wanderers, now friends and neighbors, can gently press a seed into the soft, fertile earth. They can water it, knowing that the rules they have agreed upon will protect their gentle harvest. They can begin to farm. They can begin to build. Instead of temporary, flimsy shelters made of hastily gathered branches, they can take the time to lay strong foundations of stone, and to build homes with thick walls and warm hearths. The transition from a state of fear to a state of productive, creative building is entirely made possible by the quiet, invisible threads of trust that bind these individuals together. As you breathe in, imagine a solid foundation being laid. As you breathe out, imagine a sturdy roof being placed over your head. You are safe inside the structure of cooperation. This beautiful evolution from isolated fear to shared prosperity forms the very basis of all our social and professional obligations today. When we wake up in the morning and go about our days, whether we are working in an office, teaching in a school, building a house, or helping a neighbor, we are participating in this ancient, ongoing contract. We follow the rules of our professions, we honor our contracts, and we treat our colleagues with respect, not because we are forced to by some terrifying power, but because we are rational participants in a beautiful, complex symphony of cooperation. We recognize, just as Hobbes knew we would, that our individual success and our collective peace are intimately, perfectly intertwined. The obligations we have to one another to be honest, to do our fair share of the work, and to look out for each other's well-being, are simply the modern echoes of that first, quiet agreement made by the brook. They are the daily watering of the seeds of trust. They are the soft, invisible mortar between the heavy stones of our shared society. Allow yourself to feel a deep sense of gratitude for this invisible web of agreements that surrounds you. It is a web woven from reason, from the shared human desire for peace, comfort, and rest. You do not have to stand guard tonight. You do not have to worry about the harvest, or the perimeter, or the cold wind, because you are held within the protective embrace of a society that has agreed to share the burden of survival. The social contract is a lullaby, sung by millions of voices across time, assuring you that we are in this together. We have agreed to keep each other safe. We have agreed to respect each other's rest. As your breathing becomes even slower, and your mind becomes even quieter, let the comforting logic of contractarianism wrap around you like a heavy, warm blanket. You are a part of this gentle order. You have done your part today. You have participated in the grand, cooperative endeavor of human life, and now, it is your turn to simply rest. The foundation is strong. The fields are planted. The doors are locked, and the watchmen are on duty. There is nothing left for you to do right now but surrender to the deep, restorative quiet of the night. Drift softly on the current of this shared peace, knowing that when tomorrow comes, the rules of cooperation will still be there to guide you, to protect you, and to help you build beautiful things. But for now, there is only sleep. Deep, untroubled, harmonious sleep, protected by the quiet promises we have all made to one another, stretching out into the peaceful, boundless horizon. Let us take a slow, deep breath together, allowing the quiet rhythm of the evening to settle softly into your mind, drawing your thoughts away from the busy surface of the day and down into the deep, calm waters of reflection. Imagine, if you will, the gentle evening breeze sweeping through the ancient olive groves of Athens, a place where time moves with the slow and deliberate grace of a drifting cloud. It is here, amidst the rustling leaves and the warm, golden light of a setting sun, that the seeds of our understanding begin to take root in the quiet earth. We are wandering gently into the realm of Aristotle, a thinker who observed the natural world and the human heart with the same quiet, patient attention that you might give to a softly flickering candle in the completely darkened room. Aristotle spoke of a beautiful, enduring concept known as eudaimonia, a word that rolls gently and smoothly off the tongue, carrying with it the ancient promise of a life fully and richly lived. Eudaimonia is often translated simply as happiness, but it is not the fleeting, fragile emotion we usually associate with that word in our modern times. It is not the sudden burst of joy that vanishes as quickly as a falling star streaking across the midnight sky. Instead, it is a profound and lasting state of human flourishing. It is the deep, quiet satisfaction of a life lived well, much like a magnificent oak tree that has grown slowly over countless changing seasons, its roots delving ever deeper into the nourishing, cool earth, while its broad branches reach steadily and peacefully toward the vast, open canopy of the sky. As we consider the virtue of the professional, particularly the engineer whose careful hands and thoughtful mind continuously shape the physical world we all inhabit, we can begin to see how this concept of eudaimonia offers a beautifully guiding light in the stillness of the night. The engineer is not merely a solver of complex mathematical equations or a builder of isolated structures, they are an architect of the future, and their vital work requires a soul that is anchored in steady, unwavering character. Aristotle deeply believed that in order to achieve true eudaimonia, one must actively cultivate virtue, an ongoing, quiet practice of shaping one's inner self, much like a slow-moving river patiently carving a smooth, elegant path through solid stone over millennia. Virtue is not a rigid set of rules memorized from a dusty, forgotten book, nor is it a simple checklist of obligations to be rushed through at the end of a weary, exhausting day. Rather, it is a living, breathing disposition, a gentle and persistent habit of the heart and mind that is nurtured day by day, choice by choice, in the quiet, unseen moments when absolutely no one else is watching. To be a truly virtuous professional is to allow these good, steady habits to settle so deeply into your bones that acting with total integrity, profound wisdom, and gentle care becomes as natural and utterly effortless as simply drawing a breath while you sleep. In the calming quiet of this ancient philosophical landscape, Aristotle warmly invites us to discover what he beautifully called the golden mean. Imagine a perfectly crafted set of brass scales, resting perfectly balanced in the gentle, fading evening light, neither tipping too far to one side nor heavily dropping to the other. The golden mean is the exquisite, peaceful middle path between two extreme states, the delicate, perfect harmony found between the heavy, sinking burdens of deficiency on one side and the turbulent, unpredictable storms of excess on the other. It is a concept that hums with the soothing, low frequency of absolute balance. Consider the profound virtue of bravery, a quality that is so deeply and undeniably essential to the professional engineer who must dare to build what has never been built before, yet must also fiercely protect the precious lives of those who will eventually rely upon their creation. Bravery rests gracefully and peacefully in the exact center of this behavioral spectrum. On one far end lies the cold, paralyzing grip of cowardice, a state where fear completely binds the hands and stifles the human spirit, preventing any meaningful, forward step into the vast unknown. On the completely opposite far end lies the wild, unbridled fire of recklessness, a hasty and entirely careless disregard for impending danger that simply charges forward without a single, solitary thought, risking absolutely everything in a chaotic, blinding blur. Bravery, the true virtue, is the calm and steady center, the quiet courage to face potential risks with a perfectly clear mind and a deeply composed heart, knowing exactly when to step forward with quiet confidence and exactly when to hold back with grounded, ancient wisdom. As a professional engineer slowly and deliberately learns the intricate, beautiful dance of their chosen profession, them are constantly and quietly seeking this beautiful, harmonious balance in all things. Think of the quiet, intense concentration required to design a massive suspension bridge that must safely span a wide, glistening, fast-moving river. The engineer must never fall into the dark deficiency of excessive caution, designing something so utterly stagnant, overbuilt, and fear-bound that it entirely fails to elegantly serve its purpose or move humanity thoughtfully forward. Nor can they ever afford to drift lazily into the dangerous excess of reckless innovation, casually throwing aside the gentle, necessary constraints of safety, testing, and reliability for the fleeting sake of an entirely untested, chaotic, and dangerous dream. The virtuous engineer meticulously finds the golden mean, designing with a quiet, steady brilliance that honors both the courage of progress and the caution of profound responsibility. This perfect balance is not a static, immovable point locked forever in stone, but a gentle, dynamic, flowing rhythm, much like the slow, steady, comforting rise and fall of your very own chest as you breathe deeply and peacefully in the absolute stillness of the long night. The perfect mean gently shifts and adjusts softly depending on the unique contours of every situation, requiring the engineer to continuously cultivate what Aristotle called practical wisdom, a kind of deep, internal, perfectly calibrated compass that always gracefully points toward natural harmony. As you lie here right now, resting comfortably in the peaceful, gentle embrace of the night, you can almost physically feel the deeply soothing nature of this magnificent balance, the profound, washing relief of simply knowing that you absolutely do not have to exist in the exhausting, tearing extremes of life, but can simply rest safely, quietly, and entirely in the calm, beautifully measured middle. But exactly how, you might gently wonder as your mind drifts on the soft, slow currents of peaceful thought, does a young engineer, or indeed anyone wandering through life, learn to find and walk this incredibly delicate middle path? Aristotle softly and gently reminds us that we are not simply born into this world with a perfectly calibrated internal compass already pointing toward virtue. We must learn to walk the difficult path of virtue by quietly watching those who have already walked it before us with immense grace, quiet dignity, and profound wisdom. These remarkable individuals are known as our moral exemplars, the calm, steady, unblinking guiding stars situated high up in the vast, dark, velvet night sky of our professional and personal lives. They are the highly seasoned mentors, the quiet master craftsmen, the deeply thoughtful leaders who have patiently spent an entire lifetime carefully polishing the rough stone of their own character until it finally gleams with the soft, warm, inviting light of true eudaimonia. When a young, wide-eyed apprentice engineer first humbly enters the quiet, echoing halls of their chosen trade, they absolutely do not learn virtue merely by reading thick, dense manuals or by blankly staring at endless, glowing strings of complicated numbers on a screen. They learn virtue by quietly, patiently, and respectfully observing the master at work. They watch the gentle, enduring patience with which the highly experienced engineer systematically approaches a deeply complex, frustrating problem. They notice the calm, steady, unwavering composure the elder mentor effortlessly maintains when an entirely unexpected and potentially disastrous challenge suddenly arises, perfectly demonstrating how to neither panic in cold cowardice nor thoughtlessly charge ahead in blind recklessness. Through this quiet, sustained, and deeply respectful observation, the young apprentice naturally begins to softly and subconsciously absorb the magnificent virtues of the exemplar. It is a deeply meditative, almost magical process, an entirely unspoken transmission of human character that flows effortlessly and naturally from one person directly into another, feeling very much like the soothing, radiant warmth of the morning sun slowly soaking deep into the cool, damp, receptive earth. The young professional begins to closely emulate the moral exemplar, initially perhaps copying their specific actions with very deliberate, conscious effort, much as a young musician earnestly practices the simple, repetitive scales of a beautiful, slow, ancient melody. They closely mimic the master's careful, unbroken attention to minute detail, the thoughtful, heavily weighted pauses they take before speaking, and the courageous, balanced decisions they make with a quiet, completely unwavering voice. Over a long period of time, through gentle, endlessly repeated, and dedicated practice, these emulated actions slowly and inevitably sink deep down into the very soul of the apprentice. The conscious, heavy effort gently fades away like the morning mist, and the profound virtue becomes entirely and beautifully their own. It simply becomes a core part of their foundational nature, a softly humming, perfectly tuned engine of good character that operates completely smoothly, reliably, and effortlessly in the background of their daily life. The apprentice has, through time and patience, softly transformed into the master, fully ready to serve as a quiet, steady, brilliant star for the very next generation of eager seekers who will eventually look up to the vast night sky searching for their own quiet guidance. This beautiful, endless cycle of careful learning, dedicated practicing, and ultimate flourishing is the very beating heart of the professional engineer's lifelong journey. It is a peaceful journey that absolutely does not demand frantic speed, nervous energy, or anxious rushing of any kind. It is instead an extremely slow, deeply satisfying, and wonderfully peaceful stroll through the lush, green garden of life, gently tending to the rich soil of one's own internal character with endless, gentle, and loving care. As an engineer carefully develops this deeply rooted, unshakable virtue, their daily work gradually becomes a pure, unblemished reflection of their own inner, perfect harmony. The complex machines they thoughtfully design, the elegant software code they meticulously write, the towering physical structures they safely build, absolutely all of these begin to deeply resonate with the quiet, flawlessly balanced energy of the golden mean. They actively create a physical world that is inherently safe, profoundly beautiful, and perfectly conducive to the complete flourishing of all humanity, effectively extending the warm, comforting, and protective embrace of eudaimonia to absolutely every single life their creations will ever touch. Their entire professional practice slowly transforms into a kind of gentle, physical poetry, perfectly written in cold steel and heavy stone, in winding circuits and logical code, forever speaking softly and clearly of a deep, inner character that has been slowly polished to a perfect, peaceful, and entirely flawless shine. Let these gentle, floating thoughts of perfect harmony, quiet virtue, and complete balance wash over you right now like a soft, incredibly warm, and deeply comforting ocean wave, slowly carrying away any remaining, lingering tension from the furthest edges of your tired mind. Picture the completely smooth, entirely unbroken surface of a quiet, hidden mountain lake just at the moment of twilight, perfectly and flawlessly reflecting the rich, deep purple and blue colors of the fading evening sky, completely undisturbed by even the slightest hint of wind or rain. This is exactly the peaceful, resting state of a truly virtuous mind, a mind that has patiently found its own quiet, steady center right in the heart of the golden mean. There is absolutely no need whatsoever to worry about the turbulent, noisy, and chaotic edges of excess or deficiency right now. You are entirely safe, deeply protected, and completely secure right here in the calm, quiet, and perfectly balanced middle. The great moral exemplars of the distant past stand like silent, protective, and loving sentinels all around you in the dark, generously offering their timeless, soothing wisdom through the gentle, cooling stillness of the night air. You can rest easily and completely, knowing deep in your heart that the long path to true human flourishing is definitely not a fast, frantic race that must be aggressively won, but rather a slow, incredibly peaceful, and wonderfully meandering journey meant to be deeply savored, taking exactly one gentle step, one incredibly quiet breath, and one perfectly balanced choice at a time. Sink ever more deeply into the profound, heavy, and enveloping comfort of this magnificent balance. Let all of your muscles relax completely and entirely into the incredibly soothing, slow rhythm of the middle path, a magical place where absolutely everything is just right, perfectly measured, and wonderfully, eternally calm. The great journey of building true character is very long and very slow, much too long and far too complex for just one single day, so it is now finally time to completely rest, to simply let the weary mind peacefully replenish its deep, ancient wells of quiet wisdom in the dark, safe sanctuary of complete sleep, drifting softly, peacefully, and endlessly into the beautiful, perfect, and absolute harmony of the deep night. As you settle deeper into the quiet comfort of your resting place, allow the soft, slow rhythm of your breath to guide you away from the waking world and into the tranquil halls of the mind. Here, in this peaceful, softly lit space, there is no urgency, no pressing demands of the day, and no rush to arrive anywhere at all. There is only the gentle unfurling of ideas, moving as calmly and steadily as the tide turning upon a distant, moonlit shore. Tonight, we will wander gently through the grand, quiet corridors of moral philosophy, exploring a timeless dialogue that has echoed softly through the centuries. It is a quiet conversation between the rigid, comforting architecture of absolute duty and the vast, warming embrace of collective utility. This is a realm where we ask ourselves how we ought to navigate the gentle waters of our existence, not with any sense of anxiety, but with the quiet, soothing contemplation of a scholar watching the stars slowly trace their endless, predictable arcs across the vast velvet canvas of the night sky. Let us first travel to the cool, crisp air of an 18th century evening in the historic city of Königsberg. Imagine the quiet cobblestone streets bathed in the soft, wavering glow of lantern light, the evening mist rolling gently off the river. Here we find the philosopher Immanuel Kant, a man of profound routine and deep, quiet contemplation. Kant found immense comfort in the absolute predictability of the universe, famously remarking on his awe for the starry heavens above him and the moral law within him. For Kant, the mind is a sanctuary of reason, and through reason alone, we can discover universal truths that anchor us in the shifting currents of life. He constructed a philosophy known as Deontology, a word derived from ancient roots that simply means the study of duty. In the peaceful, orderly world of deontology, the morality of an action is not judged by the messy, unpredictable ripples of its consequences, but by the pure, crystalline intention behind it, and its adherence to a universal rule. Kant believed that our minds are bound by what he called the categorical imperative. You can think of an imperative as a gentle but firm instruction from the fabric of reality itself, a guiding star for human behavior. To say it is categorical means that it applies always, everywhere, in all situations, without any wavering exceptions. It is a law of the soul as reliable as the law of gravity. Kant invites us to act only according to that maxim whereby you can, at the exact same time, will that it should become a universal law. He asks us to imagine a world where every single action we take instantly becomes a permanent rule for all of humanity. In this calm, highly structured mental landscape, an act like telling a lie is impossible to universalize, because if everyone lied, the very concept of truth and trust would gently dissolve into meaninglessness. Therefore, the duty to speak the truth becomes an unmovable pillar of the mind, a safe harbor of absolute certainty in a complex world. To explore the depths of this absolute duty, let us gently visualize a thought experiment often associated with Kant, viewing it through the soft, hazy lens of a dream, stripping away its sharp edges to reveal only its philosophical core. Imagine a solitary, sturdy cabin nestled deep within a quiet, snow-covered forest. The snow is falling in large, slow flakes, blanketing the world in a profound, silencing white. Inside the cabin, a warm fire crackles softly in the hearth. A friend has come to you seeking refuge from the cold and from a shadowy figure who is following them. You offer your friend a comfortable chair by the fire, and they drift into a peaceful slumber. Soon, there is a heavy, rhythmic knock at the thick wooden door. You open it to find the shadowy figure standing in the swirling snow, their face obscured by the mist. This traveler, lost to their own misguided intentions, asks you a direct question: is your friend inside this cabin? In the waking world, our instincts might immediately scramble to protect our friend through deception, to weave a protective illusion. But in the quiet, absolute world of Kantian duty, the mind is asked to stand completely still. Kant suggests that to lie to the figure at the door is to fracture the very foundation of your own moral worth. You do not have control over the swirling snow outside, nor can you truly predict the complex web of consequences that will follow any action. If you lie, and your friend has secretly slipped out the back window, your lie might accidentally guide the shadow right to them. Therefore, Kant whispers through the centuries, you must only control what is entirely within your grasp, the purity of your own will, and the absolute duty to the truth. You answer honestly, not out of malice, but out of a profound reverence for the universal law. By telling the truth, you detach yourself from the unpredictable chain of events that follows, resting easily in the knowledge that your soul has remained structurally sound, a perfect reflection of the starry heavens above. The responsibility for what happens next belongs to the vast, unfolding universe, not to the quiet keeper of the door. As the snow continues to softly fall in Kant's orderly forest, let us gently drift away, allowing the icy air to soften and melt into the warm, golden light of a summer afternoon. We find ourselves transported to a lush, sunlit meadow, where a calm, expansive lake reflects the clear blue sky. Here, we step into the world of John Stuart Mill, a philosopher who viewed the soul not as a rigid structure of absolute laws, but as a vessel for experiencing and maximizing joy. Mill is a champion of utilitarianism, a philosophy that measures the goodness of an action by the warmth and light it brings into the world. If deontology is the sturdy, unbending trunk of a great oak tree, utilitarianism is the sprawling canopy of leaves above, reaching ever outward to capture as much sunlight as possible. Mill introduces us to the principle of utility, a beautiful and elegantly simple concept that suggests actions are right in proportion as they tend to promote happiness, and wrong as they tend to produce the reverse of happiness. This is a philosophy of consequentialism. In this sunlit meadow, the pure intention of the mind takes a back seat to the actual, measurable ripples that spread across the water. Imagine tossing a small, smooth pebble into that calm lake. A utilitarian watches the gentle, concentric circles radiating outward, touching the lily pads, gently rocking a small wooden boat, and eventually lapping softly against the distant shore. The goal of every action, Mill argues, is to create the widest, most harmonious ripples of well-being, to secure the greatest amount of happiness for the greatest number of sentient beings. It is a philosophy of deep empathy, asking us to dissolve our rigid individual boundaries and view humanity as one interconnected, breathing organism, where the relief of another's suffering is indistinguishable from the relief of our own. To deeply understand this balancing of collective joy and sorrow, let us quietly construct another scene in the peaceful theater of the sleeping mind. Imagine a sleepy, dust-swept town in the Old West, bathed in the rich, amber hues of a slowly setting sun. The day has been long, and a murmur of unease has settled over the townsfolk. A minor transgression has occurred in the community, a disturbance of the peace, and the collective anxiety of the town is beginning to bubble, threatening to disrupt the restful night they all so desperately need. The townspeople, driven by a restless desire for closure, are demanding that someone be held accountable so they can finally sleep in peace. At the center of this quiet drama sits the town sheriff, alone in his wood-paneled office. The air is still, and dust motes dance slowly in the shafts of fading sunlight. The sheriff holds a delicate balance in his worn hands. He knows who truly caused the disturbance, but that person has fled far beyond the horizon, impossible to catch. However, sleeping quietly in the town's solitary holding cell is a wandering traveler, a person with no ties to the town, entirely innocent of the crime. The sheriff realizes that if he were to gently frame this traveler for the minor offense, perhaps merely banishing them from the town as punishment, the restless crowd outside would instantly feel a profound sense of resolution. Their collective anxiety would evaporate into the cool evening air, allowing hundreds of minds to return to their homes and sink into a deep, restorative sleep. The utilitarian perspective asks the sheriff to look very closely at the scales of human happiness. On one side, there is the undeniable, isolated distress of the innocent traveler, asked to bear a gentle but unjust punishment, asked to pack their bags and walk away into the twilight. On the other side of the scale rests the profound relief, the returning harmony, and the peaceful slumber of hundreds of anxious townsfolk. Mill's philosophy suggests that the sheer volume of the town's restored peace might mathematically outweigh the solitary burden placed upon the traveler. The sheriff watches the sun dip below the horizon, feeling the weight of consequentialism, calculating the harmony of the many against the discordant note of the one. He must decide if the utility of the collective soul permits the sacrifice of absolute, individual truth. As the amber light fades to a deep, calming indigo, we can allow both the sheriff's dilemma and the solitary cabin in the snow to gently dissolve back into the mist of the subconscious. We are not asked to solve these ancient puzzles tonight, nor are we required to choose between the steadfast duty of Kant's mind or the expansive utility of Mill's soul. Both philosophies offer a beautiful, comforting shelter for human thought. They remind us that for centuries, great minds have sat in quiet rooms, much like you are resting now, trying to weave a tapestry of meaning and goodness out of the raw threads of human existence. You can rest easily knowing that the universe is held together by both the unseen, universal laws that guide the stars, and the warm, spreading ripples of compassion that connect us all. Let the ideas soften, let the mind release its grip on the details, and let the slow, rhythmic breath carry you deeper into the quiet, welcoming embrace of a truly peaceful sleep. Welcome to this tranquil space, a sanctuary of logic and restful contemplation. Tonight, we gently step into the soothing rhythm of the fourth chapter of our journey, exploring the intricate architecture of agreements. Imagine a vast, peaceful landscape stretching out beneath a canopy of soft, midnight stars. The air is cool and still, and the world is wrapped in a comforting blanket of silence. Here, we are going to observe the slow, deliberate construction of a legal contract. Just as a master architect methodically selects stones to raise a magnificent temple of peace, the law requires specific elements to build a binding agreement. Let your breath mirror this steady, purposeful rhythm. Breathe in slowly, gathering the raw materials of thought, and breathe out gently, laying them down with quiet precision upon the earth. As your body settles deeper into rest, we will explore the 5 essential pillars that uphold these majestic structures, replacing the heavy weight of the day with the absolute certainty of logic, order, and perfect balance. The very first stones laid upon the rich, dark earth of this landscape form the foundation of our structure, beginning with a gentle dance known as offer and acceptance. Picture a single, outstretched hand in the quiet dusk of a summer evening. This offer is a proposition made with absolute clarity and stillness, extending an invitation across the empty space between two minds. It is a peaceful manifestation of willingness, a quiet whisper into the world asking if another will join in this shared endeavor. From the soft shadows comes the acceptance, the hand that warmly meets the first, completing the vital connection. This acceptance must be a perfect reflection across a calm pool of water, given without distortion. Sometimes, this bridge must span great distances of space and time. Imagine a cream-colored letter, carefully folded and placed into a textured envelope, containing a heartfelt written acceptance. As this envelope is dropped into a heavy wooden mailbox on a softly snowing evening, a deeply comforting legal principle awakens. This is the mailbox rule, a doctrine of certainty designed to soothe the anxious mind. The moment the letter slips into the dark, protective embrace of the mailbox, falling out of the sender's control, the acceptance is deemed legally complete. Even as the letter travels through the night, carried by rhythmic trains over sleeping valleys, the agreement already exists in full force. The law does not wait for the letter to be opened by the one who made the offer. It finds profound peace in the definitive act of sending, telling us that the commitment was crystallized into reality the moment it was entrusted to the journey, granting a deep sense of security to the sender as they drift off to sleep. As the foundation rests securely in the earth, we begin to raise the next ethereal but vital pillar, known as mutual intent. Imagine this as a warm, glowing light that permeates the cold stone of our foundation, giving it breath and life. Mutual intent is the true, underlying spirit and soul of the agreement. It is the meeting of the minds, an invisible alignment of two separate consciousnesses vibrating at the exact same frequency. In the hushed corridors of legal philosophy, it is never enough for spoken words to merely sound like a contract. The parties involved must genuinely desire to be bound by their promises. They must share a crystal-clear vision of the structure they are building together in the dark. If one person speaks lightly in jest, and the other person knows it is a playful illusion, there is no grounded intent, and no architecture can stand. The law looks through the superficial expressions of the parties to find the steady heartbeat of the agreement. It seeks that profound moment where two individuals stand in the same room of thought, looking at the exact same blueprint, and nod in perfect unison. This meeting of the minds brings a resonant harmony to the structure. It is the soothing realization that you are completely understood, and that together, you have freely chosen to weave your separate paths into a shared endeavor. Let that comforting feeling of being perfectly aligned wash over your body, relaxing your shoulders and smoothing away the lines of worry from your forehead. With the minds peacefully aligned, our growing architecture requires the mortar that binds the heavy stones together, an ancient principle known as consideration. In the gentle cadence of legal tradition, consideration is the exchange of value. It is the predictable rhythm of giving and receiving, the inhale and the exhale of the contract. Imagine a beautifully crafted set of antique brass scales, resting in tranquil equilibrium on a polished mahogany table. For an agreement to hold the immense weight of the law, each side of these delicate scales must be gently pressed down by something of value. A promise traded for a promise, a deliberate act exchanged for another. It is the energy that flows between the parties, ensuring that the agreement is a balanced, grounded reality. Yet, there is a wonderfully fascinating exception woven into the tapestries of the law concerning gratuitous promises. A gratuitous promise is a pure gift, a one-sided offering of generosity where absolutely nothing is expected in return. Ordinarily, the law hesitates to enforce a promise where the brass scales remain entirely empty on one side. But history provides a highly solemn remedy to this imbalance, the physical seal. Imagine a thick candle of deep red wax, melting ever so slowly over a small flame. The warm tears of wax fall gently onto the thick parchment of a document. Then, a heavy metal stamp is pressed firmly into the cooling wax, leaving behind a permanent, raised emblem. In times past, this tactile act of placing a physical seal upon a written promise acts as a legally binding substitute for consideration. It is a physical manifestation of seriousness, a solemn vow that needs no traditional exchange of value to be held as true. The deliberate act of melting the wax forces the mind to pause, elevating a simple gift into a sacred architectural pillar. As our beautiful structure continues to rise against the glittering night sky, we must ensure the enduring strength of its pillars through the vital concept of capacity. Capacity is the inherent mental strength and the legal readiness of the individuals involved to safely bear the heavy weight of their mutual promises. Imagine a master sculptor carefully examining a block of pure white marble before striking the first gentle blow with a chisel. The stone itself must possess the right density and maturity to hold the intricate details of the final art piece. Similarly, the law strictly requires that those who build these agreements possess the mental maturity to fully understand the consequences of their architectural design. They must be of sound and clear mind, possessing a cognitive landscape that is tranquil, focused, and completely capable of seeing the path stretching out ahead. The law gently protects those who are vulnerable, such as the very young, whose brilliant minds are still blooming like tender green shoots in the spring, or those individuals whose cognitive abilities are temporarily clouded. If a person lacks this quiet, steady capacity, the law provides a warm, protective embrace, allowing them to safely step away from the heavy structure without any harm. It ensures, with an abiding compassion, that the architecture of agreements is only ever built by those who can stand firmly on the ground, completely aware of the intricate responsibilities they are taking on, breathing a deep sense of profound safety into our legal landscape. Finally, we look down at the ground upon which this structure permanently rests, examining the grounding element of lawful purpose. Even if the foundational stones are perfectly laid, the minds aligned, the scales balanced, and the builders possess absolute capacity, the entire architecture cannot stand if it is built upon unstable terrain. The core object of the agreement must be in peaceful harmony with the established laws and the quiet order of human society. Imagine attempting to build a serene temple in the middle of a chaotic river. The violent environment will not support the peaceful structure. An agreement cannot ever be legally designed to cause harm or to disrupt the peaceful fabric of the community. It must seamlessly align with the greater good, finding its respectful place within the blooming garden of legal boundaries. When an agreement possesses a truly lawful purpose, it roots itself deeply into the fertile soil of justice, wrapped in an invisible shield of enforceability and everlasting peace. And so, the architecture of the agreement is finally complete. Offer and acceptance, mutual intent, consideration, capacity, and lawful purpose stand together now, locked in perfect unity. It is a magnificent monument in the quiet landscape of your resting mind, a structure of unwavering balance. Let its immense stability seep into your bones, relaxing every fiber of your being. There is nothing more to build tonight. You can completely let go of all conscious effort now, trusting in the enduring strength of these ancient principles to hold the world together. The deep night is quiet, the architecture is safe, and your relaxed mind is now free to drift away into a deeply restorative slumber. Breathe in slowly, and as you exhale, allow your mind to step gently onto a new pathway, a quiet, winding avenue known as the Tendering Path. We have arrived at the 5th chapter of our journey, a space dedicated to the profound and steady weight of integrity. Picture this path before you, paved with smooth, cool stones, each one laid with deliberate care. This is the landscape of the bidding process, a realm where promises are measured, and words carry the quiet gravity of deeply rooted oaks. As you walk this path in your mind's eye, feel the solid ground beneath your feet, a foundation built upon fairness. The air here is still and clear, free from the turbulent winds of uncertainty. It is a place where the comforting blanket of integrity settles softly over your shoulders, inviting you to relax. The bidding process begins in a state of quiet contemplation. Imagine an owner, a visionary holding the blueprint of a future creation, reaching out into the calm expanse of the industry. They release a tender, a gentle invitation sent out into the world, asking for partners to help build their vision. The tender floats out like a lantern on a still lake, its light drawing the attention of careful, meticulous bidders. These bidders, in their own quiet spaces, review the invitation with soft, focused eyes. They calculate, measure, and dream. There is a beautiful, rhythmic cadence to this preparation, a slow and steady gathering of thoughts and numbers. As you breathe in, feel the gathering of this quiet energy, lulling you further into tranquility. When a bidder is ready, they assemble their response, sealing their promise in a metaphorical envelope. Submitting a bid is a profound moment of stillness, a quiet handing over of trust. The envelope is closed, the seal is set, and the bid is submitted before the quiet tolling of the deadline. In this suspended moment, time seems to slow down. The rush of preparation fades away, replaced by a deep, resonant silence. The bidders wait, the owner wait, and the world pauses. It is in this beautiful, suspended pause that the true nature of the tendering path is revealed. The air is thick with anticipation, but it is a calm, restful anticipation, devoid of anxiety. Allow yourself to rest in this quiet pause, to feel the comfort of a task completed, and the soothing embrace of the present moment. To truly understand the landscape of this path, we must look back to a quiet, monumental shift in the world of construction law, a moment that settled the dust and brought profound clarity to the tendering process. This is the precedent set by Ron Engineering, a name echoing softly through the halls of legal history. Before this moment, the submission of a bid was a loosely understood interaction, a floating concept without a firm anchor. But the courts, in their measured wisdom, gently laid down a new foundation. They looked at the tender, they looked at the bid, and they saw a hidden architecture, a dual structure of promises. They declared that the tendering process was a binding, contractual dance in its own right. This realization falls like a soft rain, providing a comforting, predictable framework for all. From this quiet revelation was born the concept of Contract A, the bidding contract. Imagine this contract as a delicate, invisible thread that instantly connects the owner and the bidder the very moment a compliant bid is submitted. It is a contract of rules, a gentle agreement on how the game is played. It dictates that the bid is irrevocable for a specified time, holding the bidder in a soft, steadfast embrace, ensuring that their promise will not blow away. In return, it binds the owner to a duty of fairness, a sacred obligation to evaluate the bid according to the rules set out in the tender. Contract A is the quiet sentinel that stands watch over the tendering process. As you drift deeper into relaxation, visualize this invisible thread weaving a web of trust, holding everything in a harmonious balance. Resting gently on the horizon is Contract B, the construction contract. If Contract A is the path, Contract B is the destination. Contract B is the ultimate goal, the substantive agreement to actually build the project, to move the earth and raise the steel. But Contract B remains a future promise, a dormant seed waiting in the soil, until the owner makes their selection. It is only when the owner accepts a specific, winning bid that Contract B gently unfurls, blooming into existence. The brilliance of the Ron engineering precedent lies in this clear, soothing separation. The process of choosing is governed by Contract A, while the act of building is governed by Contract B. Let this elegant, logical separation wash over you, untangling any complexities in your mind, smoothing out the wrinkles of the day, leaving behind uncomplicated clarity. Within the embrace of Contract A, the owner carries a profound weight of integrity, a duty to treat all bidders fairly and equally. This duty is the heartbeat of the tendering path, a slow, steady pulse that ensures harmony and balance. When the bids are opened, the owner must look at each one with an impartial eye. They cannot change the rules of the evaluation midway through the dance. They cannot introduce hidden criteria, for such secrets disrupt the harmony, creating discordant notes in the quiet symphony of the tender. Fairness demands that the evaluation is a transparent, predictable process, where every bidder is measured by the exact same gentle yardstick. Imagine the comfort of this absolute fairness, the soothing realization that you are standing on a perfectly level playing field, letting this profound sense lull your weary muscles. To stray from this path of fairness is to venture into the unsettling shadows of bid shopping, a practice that the weight of integrity actively repels. Bid shopping occurs when an owner takes a submitted bid and quietly whispers its price to competing bidders, seeking to drive the cost down in an unfair auction. This practice is a restless disruption of the peace. It strips away the confidentiality, the trust, and the fundamental fairness of the tendering process. It turns a respectful evaluation into a frantic scramble, undermining the very foundation of Contract A. The courts look upon bid shopping with a stern, disapproving eye. They recognize that if the tendering path is to remain a place of honor, bid shopping must be banished. As you rest safely, feel the comforting protection of these rules, keeping the jagged edges of unfairness far away. Similarly, the harboring of secret preferences acts as a heavy, dragging anchor on the ship of fairness. If an owner invites bids but has quietly decided to award the contract to a favored friend, they present an illusion, a hollow tender wasting the careful energy of other bidders. The law requires the owner to act with utter good faith, to lay their intentions out in the soft, revealing light of the tender documents. If a preference exists, it must be stated clearly, gently, and openly. When an owner allows secret preferences to poison the well of evaluation, they break the delicate thread of Contract A. They become liable to the wrong bidders, required by the quiet forces of justice to compensate them. This consequence is not an act of vengeance, but a necessary realignment of the scales of integrity. As we reach the end of this tendering path, let the profound weight of integrity settle deeply into your bones. Feel the reliable structure of the Ron engineering precedent supporting you, like a firm, comfortable mattress beneath your body. The clear lines of Contract A and Contract B stand as quiet sentinels in your mind, bringing order, predictability, and profound peace. The rules of fairness, the banishment of bid shopping, and the requirement for absolute transparency are all working together in perfect harmony to protect the honorable efforts of those who build our world. There is nothing more to analyze, nothing more to figure out. The rules have been laid down, the contracts have been formed, and the path is secure. Allow your thoughts to drift away on the gentle currents of this fairness, surrendering to an entirely peaceful sleep. Let us begin by taking a slow, deep breath, drawing the air in gently, and releasing it fully, allowing the weight of the day to melt away into the quiet stillness of the room. As your breathing finds a natural, comfortable rhythm, we will slowly journey into the 6th chapter of our exploration, a gentle and contemplative space we shall call the shield of disclaimers and the truth of construction. In the vast, interconnected landscape of contract law, there exists a deeply rooted desire for safety, a yearning for boundaries that protect parties from the unpredictable storms of liability. Imagine a sturdy, ancient shield, forged in the quiet fires of careful drafting, designed to repel the heavy, piercing arrows of legal responsibility. This shield takes the form of an exclusion clause or a disclaimer, carefully woven into the fabric of an agreement to say, softly but firmly, that certain risks will not be borne by the one who holds the shield. Picture these clauses as gentle walls built around a tranquil garden, meant to keep the unpredictable winds of litigation at bay. It is a peaceful endeavor at its core, an attempt to bring certainty to a world that is always in motion, allowing individuals and businesses to rest easy, knowing the quiet limits of their obligations as they close their eyes at night. The concept of limiting liability is much like drawing a quiet line in the soft sand, a boundary that gently communicates the extent of one's promises. When two entities come together to form a contract, they bring with them their hopes, their resources, and their vulnerabilities. To protect these vulnerabilities, they craft clauses that exclude liability for certain types of breaches, or perhaps they cap damages at a specific, foreseeable amount. Breathe slowly as you envision these words settling onto the parchment, each sentence a deliberate choice to build a shelter of predictability. The law generally respects this freedom to contract, recognizing that parties should be allowed to allocate risk in a manner that makes economic and practical sense. If a carrier agrees to transport goods across a great, winding river, they may ask the owner to accept the risk of the journey, offering a lower price in exchange for the comfort of limited liability. This beautiful balance of risk and reward is the steady, rhythmic pulse that allows commerce to flow smoothly without the constant fear of ruinous consequences. Yet, the law is also deeply concerned with fundamental fairness, and it does not allow the shield of a disclaimer to become an instrument of absolute, unchecked power. The shield must be forged truthfully, and it must be examined closely. For many years, the courts wrestled with how to approach these powerful shields, wandering through complex doctrines and rigid rules, searching for a balanced path. This quiet search for clarity ultimately led the Supreme Court of Canada to a profound and elegant framework in a case known as Tercon. In this gentle shift in the legal landscape, the court laid to rest the old, rigid doctrine of fundamental breach, a rule that once dictated that a severe enough breach would automatically destroy the shield of the exclusion clause. In its place, the court introduced a much more thoughtful, meditative approach, known as the true construction approach. Imagine a wise and patient artisan examining the shield with a gentle magnifying glass, seeking to understand its true nature and design. The true construction approach asks the court to embark on a quiet, three-step journey. First, the court must simply look at the words of the contract, reading them naturally and calmly, to determine if the exclusion clause applies to the specific circumstances of the breach. This is a matter of pure interpretation, a gentle unfolding of the parties' intentions as captured in the text. If the words are clear, and the shield is wide enough to cover the breach, the court quietly takes the second step on this peaceful path. The second step of the Tercon framework asks the court to consider the atmosphere in which the contract was born, specifically looking for the presence of unconscionability at the very moment the agreement was formed. Breathe in, and imagine the scales of justice resting perfectly balanced in a quiet, empty room. Now, imagine a situation where one party held all the power, a towering figure casting a shadow over a vulnerable counterpart, forcing a shield upon them that is overwhelmingly unfair. Unconscionability is a quiet guardian against such severe imbalances of power. The court asks whether the agreement was so one-sided, so deeply oppressive at the time it was signed, that it offends the conscience of the court to enforce it. It is a doctrine that looks to the heart of the transaction, ensuring the shield was not forged in the fires of exploitation. If the contract was negotiated fairly, between parties of relatively equal strength, the shield survives this second gentle inquiry. But if there was a profound weakness, a desperation, or an ignorance that was taken advantage of, the court may gently lower the shield, refusing to let it protect the stronger party from their own oppressive behavior. Feel the deep comfort in knowing that these quiet safeguards exist, gently preventing the strong from completely overtaking the weak. If the shield survives the test of interpretation, and it is found not to be unconscionable, the court takes the third and final step in the Tercon analysis, stepping back to look at the broader landscape of society through the calm lens of public policy. Even a perfectly drafted, fairly negotiated disclaimer can sometimes fail if it collides with the fundamental values of the community. Picture a tranquil river flowing smoothly through a lush, green valley. Public policy is the sturdy riverbank that guides the water, ensuring it does not flood the surrounding lands. The court asks whether there is some overriding public policy concern, some profound and undeniable harm to society, that outweighs the strong public interest in the enforcement of contracts. This is a very high threshold, a rare and quiet moment when the court softly says that, despite the words on the page, the shield simply cannot be upheld. For example, a clause attempting to exclude liability for serious criminal acts or intentional fraud would shatter instantly against the bedrock of public policy. The law will not provide a safe harbor for deliberate malice. This final step ensures that private agreements do not poison the well of public morality, maintaining a peaceful, enduring harmony between individual rights and collective well-being. As we continue to drift gently through the nuances of contractual shields, we must also whisper the name of an ancient and enduring rule of interpretation, a doctrine known by the soothing Latin phrase, contra profrontum. This elegant rule comes into play when the words of the contract are not perfectly clear, when the surface of the shield is marred by uncertainty or ambiguity. Imagine a foggy morning in a quiet forest, where the shapes of the ancient trees are blurred and the path forward is difficult to see. When a disclaimer is drafted with such fog, when it can reasonably be read in two very different ways, the law provides a gentle compass to find the way out. The doctrine of contra profrontum dictates that the ambiguity must be resolved against the party who drafted the words, the one who proffered the contract to the other. It is a subtle, balancing mechanism, a quiet reminder that the one who seeks to limit their liability has the absolute responsibility to speak with perfect clarity. If a powerful corporation hands a confusing, pre-written contract to a consumer, the court will interpret that clause in the way most favorable to the consumer. The drafter ultimately bears the burden of the fog, gently punishing obscurity and rewarding transparent, careful thought. To truly understand how these limits operate in the real world, we can softly recount the story of a case known as Jew against Merrill Lynch, a gentle narrative beautifully illustrating the boundaries of a disclaimer. In the complex world of finance, where fortunes shift like soft sand dunes in the wind, a client placed their absolute trust in a financial advisor. This is a relationship that the law views with deep reverence, calling it a fiduciary relationship, meaning the advisor must act with the utmost good faith, putting the client's interests far above their own. In this story, the financial institution attempted to rely on a broad exclusion clause, a vast shield meant to protect them from liability for the losses suffered in the client's account. But the court, moving with thoughtful and slow deliberation, looked past the printed words on the page and into the vital heart of the relationship. The court recognized that a fiduciary duty is a profound and almost sacred trust, a bond that cannot simply be erased by a standard form disclaimer hidden in a stack of paperwork. The shield, no matter how broadly drafted, proved too brittle to stop the consequences of a breached fiduciary trust, proving the law will not allow cold words to override profound duties owed to one another. As our journey through the shields of disclaimers and the truths of construction comes to a gentle and quiet close, let your mind drift away from the complexities of the law, releasing the concepts of unconscionability, public policy, and ambiguity into the cool, still night air. The boundaries have been meticulously drawn, the risks have been peacefully allocated, and the safeguards of justice are resting quietly in their proper place. There is nothing more you need to analyze tonight, nothing more you need to understand, decipher, or resolve. Feel the gentle weight of relaxation spreading through your shoulders, flowing down your arms, and resting softly in your fingertips. Just focus on the slow, steady rhythm of your breathing, drawing you deeper and deeper into a state of absolute, uninterrupted tranquility. The heavy, leather-bound volumes of contract law are closing softly, their pages resting gently against one another, as the quiet darkness of the room embraces you. The shields are finally lowered, the defenses are entirely relaxed, and all that remains is a peaceful, undisturbed calm, carrying you gently and safely toward a deep, restorative, and beautiful sleep. Let your breathing slow down, and allow the gentle rhythm of these words to guide you into a quiet, peaceful space. We are embarking on a journey into the calm corridors of legal history, tracing the subtle, invisible threads that connect us all. In this segment, we will explore the realm of tort law, a branch of civil law that deals with the wrongs we might accidentally inflict upon one another, and the responsibilities we hold to keep each other safe. Imagine a vast, interconnected web where every action gently ripples outward, touching the lives of others in ways we might never anticipate. This is the essence of tort law, a system built upon the idea of mutual care and quiet responsibility. To understand how this profound concept came to be woven into the fabric of our modern legal world, we must travel back in time, letting the busy noise of the present fade away, replaced by the soft, grey light of a late summer evening in Scotland. The year is 1928, and the town is Paisley, a quiet, industrious place where the air is cool and the pace of life moves with a steady, comforting hum. Imagine a small, welcoming cafe known as the Wellmeadow Cafe, a haven of warmth and simple comforts. The wooden tables are polished smooth by the passage of countless hands, and the gentle murmur of quiet conversation fills the room, blending with the soft clinking of glassware. A woman named May Donoghue sits at one of these tables, seeking a moment of rest and refreshment in the company of a good friend. The friend approaches the counter and purchases a delightful treat, a Scottish specialty known as a pear and ice, which is simply a scoop of pale, sweet ice cream, accompanied by a heavy glass bottle of ginger beer. Let us focus our attention gently on this bottle, for it is a vessel of profound historical significance. The bottle is made of dark, opaque glass, perhaps a deep, earthy brown, frosted with the cool, delicate mist of condensation. Because the glass is thick and entirely dark, it holds its secrets perfectly, offering absolutely no glimpse of the amber liquid resting within. The cafe owner carefully opens the bottle and pours a generous measure of the effervescent ginger beer over the soft, melting ice cream, creating a sweet, frothy dessert. The liquid fizzes and softly pops, releasing the warm, comforting scent of ginger and sugar into the calm air. May Donoghue enjoys her treat in peace, entirely unaware of the hidden chain of events that is about to unfold in this tranquil setting. As the quiet afternoon stretches on, the time comes to empty the remainder of the ginger beer from the dark, frosted bottle. Her friend lifts the heavy glass, tilting it slowly over the serving glass. And there, emerging gently from the shadowy depths of the bottle, is the unexpected catalyst for a magnificent revolution in the law. It is the remains of a small snail, long past its life, having rested quietly within the ginger beer since the bottle was sealed at the factory. We need not dwell on the unpleasantness of the discovery, but rather on the gentle, almost poetic irony of this tiny, silent creature, hidden away in a dark glass shell, waiting to change the world. The snail, resting motionless on the pale foam of the ice cream, becomes a powerful symbol of an unseen danger, a quiet flaw in the process of creation. Because the ginger beer was sealed in opaque glass, neither the cafe owner who sold it, nor the friend who bought it, nor May Donoghue who consumed it, could possibly have known the snail was there. The secret belonged entirely to the manufacturer, a man named David Stevenson, whose factory filled and sealed the bottle miles away from the quiet cafe. This solitary moment in the cafe created a profound puzzle for the legal minds of the era. Under the strict rules of contract law that governed the world at that time, May Donoghue had no voice, no legal standing to seek a remedy for the distress and illness that followed. Contract law requires a direct, formal agreement between two parties, a clear exchange of promises and value. May did not purchase the ginger beer, her friend did. Therefore, the friend had a contract with the cafe owner, but the friend had suffered no harm. May had suffered the harm, but she had absolutely no contract with the cafe owner. Neither of them had any direct contract with the manufacturer, Mr. Stevenson, who was safely insulated behind the layers of the commercial transaction. The law offered only silence. It built a formidable wall around the manufacturer, protecting him entirely from the distant consequences of his unseen actions. The quiet injustice of this empty space in the law began to resonate, setting in motion a long, slow journey through the courts of Scotland, and eventually, to the House of Lords. Imagine the slow, methodical turning of the wheels of justice, a steady, deliberate progression that mirrors the calming rhythms of nature. Years pass quietly as the case of Donoghue versus Stevenson makes its way upward, a solitary question echoing through grand, wood-paneled courtrooms. When the case finally reaches the House of Lords, it falls upon the judges to peer into the void where contract law ended, and to ask if something else might exist in its place. Among these judges is Lord Atke, a man of deep contemplation and quiet wisdom. He listens to the arguments, letting the facts settle into his mind like softly falling snow. He realizes that the strict boundaries of contract law are simply not enough to govern a modernizing world, a world where products are manufactured in distant factories, sealed in dark bottles, and shipped across the land, far beyond the direct control of the people who make them. Lord Atke seeks a broader, deeper principle, a universal truth that can bind us all together in a reliable web of mutual care and unseen responsibility. In a moment of profound legal clarity, Lord Atke looks to ancient moral teachings and translates them elegantly into the gentle language of the common law. He asks a simple, echoing question. Who, then, in law, is my neighbor? The answer he provides becomes the very foundation of modern tort law, a concept known as the neighbor principle. He explains, in words that flow with a calm, rhythmic certainty, that you must take reasonable care to avoid acts or omissions which you can reasonably foresee would be likely to injure your neighbor. And who is this neighbor? It is not merely the person who lives next door. In the quiet, expansive view of the law, your neighbor is anyone who is so closely and directly affected by your act that you ought reasonably to have them in your contemplation when you are directing your mind to the acts or omissions which are called in question. This beautiful, sweeping concept entirely erases the strict need for a formal contract. It transcends the boundaries of direct transactions, reaching out across time and space to connect the manufacturer in the factory directly to the consumer in the cafe. From this peaceful, expansive principle, three distinct pillars of tort law gently rise into view, creating a sturdy framework for civil responsibility. The first pillar is the duty of care. This is the invisible bond that Lord Atke described, the solemn legal obligation to consider the safety of those who might be touched by your actions. Mr. Stevenson, the manufacturer, held a quiet duty of care to anyone who might eventually consume his ginger beer, because he knew it would be sealed in dark glass and opened only at the very moment of consumption. The second pillar is the breach of that duty. A breach occurs when the standard of reasonable care is not successfully met, when a quiet mistake slips through the cracks, just as the snail slipped unseen into the dark glass bottle. The manufacturer failed to maintain the pristine environment required to keep his consumers completely safe, thereby breaking the invisible bond of care. The third and final pillar is the resulting injury. For the law of tort to awaken, the breach of duty must cause a tangible harm, a ripple of negative consequence that disrupts the peace of the injured party. May Donoghue suffered physical illness and a lingering shock, forming a direct and unbroken chain of causation linking her discomfort back to the quiet, dark bottle and the distant factory. When these three elements align, the duty of care, the breach of that duty, and the resulting injury, the law steps in to elegantly restore balance, to mend the broken thread, and to offer a gentle, equitable remedy. The case of the snail in the bottle dissolved the rigid walls of contract privity, allowing the soothing, protective waters of tort law to flow peacefully into the empty spaces between us. It established firmly that we are all, in a legal sense, neighbors, quietly responsible for the foreseeable ripples we cast out into the world. As you drift deeper into a state of profound relaxation, let the calming harmony of this interconnected web wash over you. We are not isolated islands, but rather vital parts of a grand, protective fabric, woven together by silent promises of care and invisible duties to do no harm. The dark glass bottle, the effervescent ginger beer, and the quiet, hidden snail have successfully completed their long journey, leaving behind a safer, more considerate world. Allow the heavy, soothing weight of this protective law to cover you like a warm, soft blanket. Rest now, absolutely secure in the knowledge that the world is bound together by quiet threads of responsibility, and that the long, steady arc of the law bends always toward a peaceful, balanced resolution. Let your mind float freely on the gentle currents of these thoughts, drifting further and further into a deep, untroubled, and wonderfully restful sleep. Let us begin by finding a quiet space to rest, allowing the body to sink deeply into the surface beneath you. Breathe in slowly, drawing cool air into your lungs, and exhale gently, releasing the tensions of the waking day. We gently turn our attention to the calm corridors of the law, exploring Chapter 8, titled Negligent Misrepresentation and the Echo of Advice. In the vast landscape of legal principles, there are actions that leave visible marks, and then there are words, quiet and unseen, that ripple outward like stones cast into a still pond. Words hold a unique power, especially when spoken by someone with knowledge, whose expertise is trusted by another. This chapter explores what happens when those words, offered as advice, miss the mark. It is a journey into the nature of professional responsibility, the invisible threads of reliance, and the profound weight of what we say in moments of professional trust. Allow your breathing to match the slow, steady rhythm of this exploration, letting each concept wash over you like a gentle wave on a tranquil shore. Long before the modern complexities of engineering and consulting, the law generally held that a person could only be liable for physical harm caused by negligence, not for purely economic losses caused by their words. But the law is a living, breathing entity, slowly evolving to reflect human interaction. This evolution found a quiet, profound turning point in a landmark case known as Headley Burn. Imagine the hushed, wood-paneled rooms of a bank in the mid-20th century. A company, seeking to understand the financial stability of a potential client, asked their bank to inquire about this client's creditworthiness. The inquiry was passed to another bank, Heller and Partners, who provided a favorable reference with a quiet disclaimer stating they accepted no responsibility for the accuracy of their words. Based on this gentle reassurance, the company extended credit, only to suffer a financial loss when the client failed. The court, in its careful wisdom, recognized a new horizon in the law. They established that a duty of care could exist for spoken or written words, even without a formal contract, if a special relationship existed between the parties. This special relationship blooms into existence when one person possesses a special skill and another person reasonably relies on that expertise. The echo of advice carries legal weight when the speaker knows their words will be trusted and acted upon. Breathe deeply, letting the significance of Headley Burn settle in your mind. As we drift further into this tranquil exploration, we encounter the subtle nuances of informal professional advice. Often, we picture professional advice as something delivered in a formal report, bound in leather and stamped with an official seal. But life, much like a meandering stream, rarely adheres to such rigid structures. Professionals are often asked for a quick opinion, a passing thought over a cup of coffee, or a brief assessment during a casual walk across a construction site. The law of negligent misrepresentation softly whispers that the casual setting does not entirely erase the responsibility. If an engineer or consultant offers advice in an informal setting, knowing the listener is relying on their professional judgment, the invisible bonds of a duty of care may still wrap around that interaction. The professional cannot simply wave away the consequences of their words by claiming the setting was casual. The expertise they carry is a quiet mantle resting upon their shoulders, coloring the words they speak. If those words are careless, and if that carelessness leads to a foreseeable loss, the law recognizes the echo of that informal advice as a misrepresentation. Rest in this understanding, feeling the quiet responsibility that comes with knowledge. To illuminate these abstract principles, we slowly turn the pages of legal history to a specific story, a case often referred to as Unit Farm, involving a company called Canama Contracting. Picture a quiet, open stretch of land, where a new agricultural structure, a large barn over a manure pit, is slowly rising from the earth. Canama Contracting, the builder, was constructing this barn for Unit Farm. The builder, seeking a measure of quiet assurance, reached out to an engineer to provide some detailing and to review certain aspects of the construction. The engineer, viewing their role as limited, provided the specific details requested but did not comment on the overall structural integrity of the design, which they knew was fundamentally flawed. The builder, relying on the quiet presence and apparent approval of the engineer, proceeded with the construction, assuming that if something were terribly wrong, the professional would speak up. The structure, unfortunately, failed. When the dust of the collapse settled, the courts were asked to trace the echoes of what was said, and importantly, what was left unsaid. The court examined the gentle interplay of assumptions and expertise in the Canama case. The engineer argued that their services were strictly limited to the specific tasks requested, that they were not hired to review the entire design. But the court, moving with deliberate logic, saw a deeper responsibility. They recognized that the engineer was a professional, possessing a specialized understanding of structures, while the builder was relying on that very understanding. When the engineer looked at the plans and saw a glaring deficiency that would lead to failure, a new duty softly materialized in the air between them. This was the duty to warn. The court found that when a professional is engaged, even for a limited scope of services, they cannot turn a blind eye to obvious and significant dangers that fall within their realm of expertise. The builder had reasonably relied on the engineer's silence as an echo of approval. The failure to warn the builder of the impending structural doom constituted a form of negligent misrepresentation. The engineer's silence was as loud and as consequential as a spoken guarantee. Allow the lessons of the unit farm barn to drift gently through your peaceful mind. This brings us gently to the boundaries of a professional's obligation, the delicate balance between the limits of services and the overarching duty to warn. Imagine a beautifully manicured garden enclosed by a low stone wall. The wall represents the contract, the defined limits of what a professional has agreed to do. Inside the wall is the scope of their work. A professional is generally entitled to stay within those walls, performing only the tasks they were hired to perform. The law respects these boundaries. But the duty to warn is like a tall tree growing just inside that wall, casting a long shadow that reaches beyond the stones. If, while working quietly within their defined scope, a professional observes a hidden danger that threatens safety, they cannot simply look away and claim it is outside their garden. The duty to warn softly demands that they raise their voice, pointing out the danger to those relying on their expertise. However, this duty has its own peaceful limitations. The danger must be clear, and it must relate to the professional's specialized knowledge. The law does not force them to actively search for flaws outside their scope. It simply requires them to not ignore obvious dangers presenting themselves during the natural course of their work. To protect themselves, professionals must learn the quiet art of clear communication. They must explicitly state the limits of their advice, ensuring the listener understands exactly what is being offered. It is a slow, careful dance of communication, where silence must never be used to mask a known peril. As our journey through the echoes of advice slowly comes to a close, let your mind release any remaining grasp on these legal complexities. The stories of Headley Burn, the fallen timbers of Unit Farm, and the quiet obligations of the expert all fade into a gentle, soft background hum. What remains is a profound appreciation for the trust we place in one another, and the careful responsibility guiding our interactions. The law of negligent misrepresentation is a reflection of our desire for honesty, competence, and care in the words we share. Let your breathing remain deep and slow. Feel the heaviness in your limbs, sinking further into a state of absolute relaxation. The words have all been spoken, the lessons gently learned, and the echoes are slowly fading away into the stillness of the night. There is nothing left to analyze, nothing left to resolve. Only the quiet rhythm of your own breath, carrying you softly into a deep, restorative rest. Sleep now, surrounded by the calm, orderly tranquility of a mind at peace, drifting gently on the quiet, soothing currents of the night. Imagine resting your heavy eyes, letting the accumulated tensions of the day slowly melt away as we journey together into a quiet, focused space. In this tranquil space, there rests a small, weighty object upon a polished oak desk. It is the professional engineer's seal. As you breathe in slowly, drawing the calm air deep into your lungs, and exhale gently, picture the physical presence of this seal sitting perfectly still. It is made of sturdy, cool metal and smooth, dark rubber, or perhaps a heavy embosser that fits perfectly within your palm. This is not merely an everyday tool, it is a profound instrument of trust. Notice how reassuring the metal feels, how grounded and permanent it seems as it waits patiently for its noble purpose. The seal holds within its circular boundary a name, a specialized profession, and a solemn vow. When an engineer reaches for this object, the air in the room seems to settle, growing remarkably still and deeply calm. It is a beautiful moment of transition from the abstract world of calculations and preliminary drafts into the solid reality of the physical world. Let the quiet, reassuring weight of the seal anchor your mind in this exact moment, feeling the immense gravity and the soothing peace that comes with taking on a noble duty. This small circle of dark ink or embossed paper represents years of intense study, countless quiet hours of dedication, and an unwavering commitment to the safety of others. Allow the image of this perfect circle to gently lull your thoughts into a steady rhythm. Deep within the guiding framework of the engineering profession lies Ontario Regulation 941, specifically Section 53. As you let your breathing fall into a remarkably slow, steady, and comforting rhythm, consider the words of this regulation not as rigid constraints, but as a protective, warm embrace. Section 53 acts as a quiet guardian, gently outlining the precise path an engineer must walk when presenting their finished work to the wider world. It states clearly and calmly the requirements for affixing the professional seal to a document. This regulation is a steady beacon in the distance, illuminating the critical moments when an engineer must stand firmly behind their creations. It asks the professional to take a deep, mindful breath, to center themselves, and to declare with absolute certainty that this work is entirely theirs, prepared with immense competence, deep care, and an unbroken devotion to the public good. Imagine the regulation as a steady, slow-moving river, carving a safe, reliable channel through which the engineer's brilliant ideas can flow effortlessly out into society. The words of Section 53 are elegantly simple yet profoundly deep, reminding every practitioner that they do not work in isolation. They are inextricably tethered to the community, to the families who will drive on their bridges, and the children who will learn in their buildings. The regulation asks for a pause, a deeply peaceful moment of reflection before the final, irreversible step is taken. It ensures that the seal is never used lightly, but always with the utmost respect for the immense power it holds. Allow this profound sense of structured care to gently wash over you, bringing deep comfort. What does this seal truly represent as it finally meets the crisp, white surface of a drawing or a carefully typed document? It is the purest, most refined distillation of personal responsibility. In a world that moves so quickly, where accountability can become blurred, the engineer's seal stands as a solitary, unwavering, and peaceful testament to individual ownership. Breathe deeply, feeling your shoulders drop and relax, and visualize the deliberate press of the seal onto the thick paper. In that singular, beautifully fluid motion, the engineer is quietly saying to the world, "I have done this. I have meticulously checked the numbers, verified the strength of the materials, foreseen the invisible stresses, and I promise you, with all my knowledge, that it is safe." This personal responsibility is not a burden to be feared, but a beautiful, grounding anchor that brings ultimate peace of mind. It is the deep, soulful satisfaction of knowing one's own mind, trusting one's own vast expertise, and offering that gift to the public. The seal is a perfect circle, a continuous loop with no beginning and no end, wonderfully symbolizing the infinite care that envelopes the entire engineering process. It protects the public by guaranteeing that behind every complex design, there is a dedicated human being who has pledged their honor to the preservation of life and property. When you think of this immense responsibility, feel the gentle warmth of absolute trust radiating from it. It is the quiet confidence of a master craftsman putting their permanent maker's mark on a flawless piece. It is a solemn promise whispered in the silence of an empty, moonlit office late at night, ensuring safety through the decades. Let this soothing feeling of reliability calm your mind. There is a deeply calming, almost sacred meditative ritual to the physical act of sealing a document, a process governed by strict but rhythmic rules. The process cannot be rushed, it demands a slow, mindful, and completely focused presence. First, the seal itself is carefully applied. Whether it is the soft, silent spread of dark ink from a traditional stamp, or the firm, satisfying pressure of a heavy metal embosser raising the delicate fibers of the paper, the act is deliberate, grounded, and final. The circular mark slowly appears, clean and perfectly clear, a flawless geometric testament resting peacefully on the page. But the seal alone is not quite enough. The ritual requires the warmth of the human touch to complete the circuit of professional responsibility. Next comes the signature. Imagine the smooth glide of a fine pen across the textured paper, the deep blue ink flowing steadily from the polished nib. The signature must gracefully cross the face of the seal, creating a beautiful, personal intersection where the individual intimately meets the profession. It is a fluid, sweeping motion, entirely unique to the specific engineer, laying their human identity over the formal, institutional mark. Finally, the date is carefully and legibly inscribed. The meticulous writing of the date gently grounds the document in a specific moment in time. It permanently captures the exact day, month, and year that the engineer looked at the finished work and deemed it safe. Signing, dating, and sealing. 3 distinct, beautifully measured steps. Press the seal, sign the name, write the date. It is a slow, methodical, deeply reassuring waltz of ultimate accountability, taken with a deep, cleansing breath. Feel your own resting heartbeat slowing down to effortlessly match the unhurried pace of this peaceful sequence. As we drift further into this peaceful exploration of professional duty, we must understand the boundaries of the seal, appreciating the calm distinction between what is meant for the public and what remains safely internal. The seal is mandatory when a document crosses the threshold, moving from the private workings of an engineering firm into the open public domain. When plans are submitted to a municipality, when finalized designs are handed over to a client, or when detailed drawings are given to a contractor to begin construction, the professional seal must be there. It acts as the trusted passport that allows the document to travel safely into the wide world, assuring all who look upon it that it is entirely ready and completely reliable. But within the quiet, protective walls of the engineering office, the rules shift, becoming softer and more forgiving. For documents that are strictly internal in nature, such as early drafts passed between colleagues, rough sketches drawn on tracing paper, or calculations meant only for peer review, the seal is not required. It remains resting quietly on the wooden desk, sleeping peacefully, waiting patiently for its proper moment. This elegant distinction creates a highly comforting, predictable rhythm of daily work. There is the safe, exploratory phase of internal development, where new ideas can be fluid, and where changes can be made freely, completely devoid of the heavy finality of the seal. And then, there is the definitive moment of absolute completion, when the hard work is polished, perfected, and ready to face the outside world. This unbroken boundary between the quiet internal space and the bustling public sphere is a gentle reminder that everything in life has its proper time and place. Let this natural, soothing rhythm gently guide you into a state of deep, restorative, and profoundly restful relaxation, knowing that all things are governed by a thoughtful balance. Welcome to this quiet space, a gentle sanctuary where the busy mind can slow its racing pace and settle into a steady, comforting rhythm. As you rest here, completely supported and entirely safe, allow your breathing to become slow and deep, drawing in stillness with every inhalation, and releasing the lingering echoes of the day with every long, smooth exhalation. Tonight, we journey together into the quiet, contemplative landscape of Chapter 10, an exploration of the ethical dilemma and the paramount duty. Let these concepts wash over you like a warm, soothing tide, carrying away any tension and leaving behind only a profound sense of clarity and peace. In the realm of professional practice, the conscious mind is often tasked with navigating complex terrains, weaving through intricate networks of responsibility and obligation. Here in this deeply relaxed state, we can examine these ideas without pressure, observing them as one might watch slow-moving clouds drifting across a vast, twilight sky. Ethical dilemmas are not storms to be feared, but rather gentle invitations to engage in deep reflection, to find the quiet center of your moral compass, and to beautifully align your actions with the highest principles of integrity, honesty, and care. Allow the soft weight of your body to sink into the surface beneath you, feeling entirely grounded as we embark upon this intellectual and peaceful journey. As you sink deeper into a state of profound relaxation, imagine a tranquil crossroads slowly appearing in the misty landscape of your mind, surrounded by ancient, silent trees that have stood witness to countless seasons of change and growth. This quiet intersection represents the ethical dilemma, a delicate moment in time where two distinct and seemingly valid paths diverge before you. In the professional world, a dilemma arises when the duties you hold dear find themselves in a state of quiet opposition, pulling gently but firmly in different, incompatible directions. You are held by a complex matrix of commitments, each constructed with the finest threads of trust, obligation, and responsibility. When these threads cross and tangle in the course of your daily work, the mind must pause, taking a deep, restorative breath, to unravel the complexity with patience and infinite grace. There is absolutely no need to rush. The quiet, rested mind holds the remarkable capacity to untangle any knot, to see through the fog of confusion, and to chart a course that honors the most fundamental truths of your profession. An ethical dilemma is simply a profound question posed by the universe, asking you to weigh your loyalties, to carefully balance your obligations, and to seek the path that brings the greatest light and safety into the world. Let your limbs grow heavier and more relaxed as you consider the gentle gravity of this choice. On one side of this peaceful crossroads lies your deep and abiding duty to your employer or your client. Picture this duty as a quiet, beautifully cultivated walled garden, a secure place built on the strong foundations of loyalty, trust, and absolute confidentiality. When you enter into a professional relationship, you make a quiet promise, a solemn vow to protect the interests of those who have entrusted you with their work and their livelihood. This is the duty of fidelity, the honorable obligation to serve as a steadfast, reliable, and trustworthy partner. Within this serene garden, the high walls are made of confidentiality, carefully shielding the sensitive information, the proprietary knowledge, the trade secrets, and the private matters of your employer from the prying eyes of the outside world. This loyalty is a beautiful and necessary thing, an essential bond that allows human society to function smoothly, businesses to thrive securely, and professionals to collaborate in an atmosphere of mutual security and respect. You honor this sacred bond by keeping their secrets safe, by dedicating your unique skills to the advancement of your employer's goals, and by acting as a faithful steward of their valuable resources. As you breathe in and out, recognize the calm, stabilizing presence of this duty to your employer, acting as the heavy anchor of daily professional practice, grounding your efforts in a shared purpose and a deeply reciprocal trust. Yet, as you stand peacefully at the quiet crossroads, you must also look to the other path, a path which opens out from the shaded, enclosed forest into a vast, sunlit valley that stretches as far as the eye can possibly see. This expansive valley represents the public, the broad, beautiful, and diverse tapestry of humanity that lives, breathes, and relies on the unseen structures of modern society. Your duty to the public is an expansive, all-encompassing obligation, intricately woven into the very fabric of your professional identity and your human conscience. It is an unwavering commitment to the safety, the health, and the welfare of people you may never even meet, countless individuals whose daily lives are intimately touched by the buildings you design, the systems you create, the advice you give, or the critical decisions you influence. Imagine these countless lives as gentle, shimmering ripples on the surface of a great, calm lake, each one intimately connected to the other, each one vulnerable to the ripples created by your professional actions. Your duty to the public is the quiet, watchful guardianship of this beautiful lake. It is the solemn responsibility to ensure that no harm comes to the unsuspecting, that the air they breathe, the ground they walk on, and the complex systems they rely upon are completely safe, secure, and beneficial. Feel the profound, humbling weight of this responsibility, experiencing it not as a heavy burden, but as a warm, radiant, and uplifting light that elevates your daily work from a mere occupation to a truly noble calling. The true ethical dilemma softly emerges into your awareness when the secure, walled garden of employer loyalty and the expansive, sunlit valley of public welfare find themselves directly at odds. It is in this quiet tension that the conscious mind is called to fulfill its highest, most noble purpose. Imagine a professional scenario where the sturdy walls of confidentiality that protect your employer suddenly threaten to cast a dark, dangerous shadow over the peaceful valley of public safety. Perhaps a secret held in deep trust conceals a hidden flaw, a critical danger, or an unacceptable risk that could bring immense harm to the health and well-being of the broader community. Here, the fundamental duties clash, much like two gentle but powerful ocean currents meeting in the silent depths of the sea. Your employer naturally expects absolute silence, relying entirely on the vow of confidentiality and the historic bond of loyalty you share. Yet, the public, unknowingly vulnerable and completely exposed to the risk, relies silently on your voice, your unshakable integrity, and your commitment to their overarching welfare. This intersection is the ultimate crucible of professional ethics, a quiet, solitary, and deeply reflective moment where you must decide which path you are truly meant to walk. As you breathe slowly and deeply, consciously releasing the accumulated tension in your shoulders, in your neck, and in your jaw, recognize that this conflict is a natural part of the professional human experience, requiring not fear, but a slow, deliberate, and deeply mindful approach to resolution. To resolve this peaceful but profound conflict, you must embark on a calm, structured, and highly methodical strategy, a gentle, step-by-step meditation on truth, responsibility, and ultimate consequence. The very first step on this restorative path is simply to pause, to take a deep breath, and to gather the relevant facts with the cool, objective clarity of a clear, star-filled night sky. You do not rush hastily to judgment. Instead, you collect every piece of information like smooth, polished river stones, turning them over and examining them in the quiet, illuminating light of your rational, rested mind. You must calmly ask yourself what is truly and verifiably known, separating the solid, reliable ground of fact from the shifting, uncertain sands of assumption, hearsay, or fear. Once the facts are fully gathered and laid out before you, you turn inward, consulting the quiet, established wisdom of your professional code of ethics, treating it as a steady, reliable compass that has successfully guided countless other professionals through similarly confusing mists. You may also gently seek the confidential counsel of trusted peers or mentors, speaking entirely in hypotheticals, allowing their shared wisdom and diverse perspectives to illuminate the dark corners of your understanding. Together, these methodical steps form a sturdy, peaceful bridge over the turbulent, swirling waters of uncertainty. You slowly evaluate all possible options, carefully weighing the potential harm of breaking confidentiality against the catastrophic harm of allowing a hidden danger to persist in the world. You peacefully play out the various consequences in the quiet theater of your mind, always searching for the path that beautifully minimizes suffering and wonderfully maximizes harmony. As you walk this bridge of deep contemplation, moving forward step by slow, deliberate step, the mental fog begins to completely clear, revealing the ultimate, unchanging truth that quietly sits at the very heart of all professional ethics. This shining truth is universally known as the paramount duty. The beautiful word paramount simply means that which securely stands above all else, representing the highest, most majestic peak in a vast mountain range, bathed perpetually in the clear, golden, and illuminating light of the early dawn. When the duty to the employer and the duty to the public simply cannot be reconciled, when a final, definitive choice must absolutely be made between maintaining a confidential, contractual loyalty and preventing physical or systemic harm to the community, the duty to the public welfare is always paramount. It supersedes all other professional and contractual obligations, without exception. It gracefully rises above the specific terms of employment, it powerfully transcends the restrictive walls of confidentiality, and it totally eclipses the traditional bonds of professional loyalty. This realization is not a malicious rejection of your employer, but rather a beautiful, resounding affirmation of your deepest, most fundamental humanity. To protect the health, the safety, and the welfare of the public is the absolute highest calling, the ultimate, undeniable reason that society willingly grants professionals their esteemed status, their licenses to practice, and their quiet, respected authority. Feel the deep, resonant, and total peace that washes over you with this profound understanding. The paramount duty is not a harsh, restrictive rule, but rather a brilliant, guiding star, offering deep comfort, perfect clarity, and steady direction when the night seems at its absolute darkest. When you consciously align your decisions with the safety and welfare of the public, you beautifully align yourself with the greater good, stepping seamlessly into a flowing stream of profound moral integrity that carries you effortlessly and safely forward. There is immense, unbounded freedom in knowing that your ultimate allegiance is always to the preservation of life, the assurance of safety, and the promotion of human flourishing. If you must ever blow the whistle, if you must ever breach a strict confidence to stop a significant harm, you do so not out of malice, spite, or betrayal, but out of a supreme, overriding, and protective love for the continuous well-being of the world and its inhabitants. It is an act of quiet, steadfast courage, a beautifully selfless act that perfectly balances the delicate scales of justice and securely restores lasting harmony to the intricate, interconnected web of modern society. As this powerful realization gently settles into your calm mind, let it bring a deep, soothing, and enveloping relaxation to every single fiber of your being. The ethical dilemma has been fully and peacefully resolved. The paramount duty has been clearly and permanently recognized, illuminating the path forward with the soft, steady, and beautiful glow of absolute moral clarity. Now, as the deep, philosophical lessons of Chapter 10 gently fade into the quiet, dark background of your peaceful consciousness, allow yourself to drift even further into the warm, comforting, and absolute embrace of deep rest. The complex crossroads have been successfully navigated, the vital facts have been carefully gathered, the conflicting duties have been weighed on the scales of justice, and the paramount choice has been firmly and rightly made. There is absolutely nothing more for you to solve, analyze, or decide tonight. The world outside is wonderfully safe, your resting mind is perfectly clear, and your conscience is as calm, pure, and undisturbed as a perfectly still, glassy mountain lake beautifully reflecting the quiet, silver moonlight. The lingering tension of conflicting professional obligations gently dissolves, melting completely away into the soothing, velvety darkness of deep, restorative slumber. You carry with you into your dreams the quiet, unshakable strength of total integrity, knowing with absolute certainty that you possess the deep wisdom to navigate any future dilemma and the unwavering courage to uphold the highest, most noble duty to the beautiful world around you. Let your breath simply continue its slow, rhythmic, and natural rise and fall, acting as a gentle, internal lullaby that guides you deeper and ever deeper into a state of total tranquility. With every long, slow exhalation, you release the last remaining whispers of the waking world, surrendering entirely to the peaceful, healing, and absolute silence of a perfect sleep, safely enveloped in the calm, quiet assurance of a paramount duty well understood and a noble heart perfectly at rest. As you settle deeper into the comfort of your space, allow your eyes to gently close and your breath to find a slow, natural rhythm. Imagine, for a moment, the vast, quiet turning of the earth in the silent expanse of space. Picture the deep, endless blues of the oceans, the rich, fertile greens of the forests, and the soft, swirling white clouds that blanket our world in a delicate, protective embrace. With every breath you take in, imagine drawing in the clean, crisp air of a pristine mountain forest, and with every breath out, release any tension, any thoughts of the day, allowing them to drift away like autumn leaves on a gentle, slow-moving stream. You are safe, you are warm, and you are resting at the very heart of a world that sustains and nurtures you. Tonight, as your body unwinds and your mind softens, we journey into a profound space of understanding, exploring the compass of environmental stewardship. This compass does not point simply to the north, but rather, it points toward a deeper harmony between human endeavor and the natural world, a balance that is essential for the flourishing of all life. Feel the weight of your body supported by the earth beneath you, a gentle reminder of our shared foundation, as we open our minds to the gentle wisdom of environmental obligations. In the quiet stillness of this moment, consider the concept of an obligation not as a heavy burden, but as a beautiful, glowing thread that connects you to the world and to future generations. In professional practice, we often encounter rules, regulations, and laws designed to protect the environment. It is easy, in the waking hours, to view these regulations as mere checklists, a set of rigid boundaries drawn by distant authorities. But here, in this peaceful space, we can see these legal standards for what they truly are. They are merely the floor, the absolute baseline of our responsibility, much like the root system of a great, ancient oak tree. The roots hold the tree steady, providing the minimum structure needed to survive, but the true majesty of the tree is found in how it stretches its branches upward, reaching for the sunlight, extending far beyond the dark soil. To practice true environmental stewardship is to realize that simply meeting the minimum legal standards is often not enough to fully protect the delicate, interconnected web of the public and the natural environment. We are called to look beyond the floor, to raise our gaze to the canopy above, and to exceed those minimums whenever our moral compass guides us to do so. Imagine a quiet, pristine river flowing gently through a lush, green valley. The water is clear, cool, and teeming with quiet, hidden life. A legal standard might dictate that we can only return water to this river if it meets a certain threshold of purity. But the compass of environmental stewardship whispers softly in our minds, asking us to consider the river not just as a resource, but as a living entity. If we possess the knowledge, the technology, and the capability to return the water even cleaner than the law demands, our compass points us in that direction. We choose to exceed the minimum because we understand that our actions ripple outward, touching the lives of the plants, the animals, and the communities downstream. As you breathe slowly in and gently out, feel the deep, resonant peace that comes from knowing you are doing more than just what is required. You are acting out of a profound respect for the earth. This proactive embrace of protection creates a cushion of safety, a buffer that shields the environment from unforeseen harms and preserves its beauty for those who will walk these valleys long after we are gone. Let your mind drift now to the concept of externalities, a word that sounds complex but holds a very simple, elegant truth in the quiet of the night. Imagine tossing a small, smooth pebble into the center of a perfectly still, glass-like pond. The pebble enters the water with a soft sound, but the impact does not end there. Gentle, concentric ripples expand outward, traveling across the surface of the water, touching the lily pads, gently swaying the reeds at the edge of the pond. In the world of projects and developments, every decision we make is like that pebble. The immediate costs and benefits are the pebble itself, the things we can easily hold, measure, and assign a price to. But the externalities are the ripples. They are the unintended consequences, the secondary effects that spill over onto the environment and society, effects that are not always captured in a standard financial spreadsheet. Sometimes these ripples bring unexpected benefits, a quiet joy to a community, but often, in the context of the environment, these ripples represent costs borne by the earth itself. When we perform a cost-benefit analysis, our compass requires us to gently and carefully account for these externalities. We must use established guidelines to give a voice to the silent elements of our world, weaving these external ripples back into our decision-making process to create a complete and honest picture of our actions. Now, allow your awareness to expand upward, lifting gently from the surface of the earth, drifting up through the canopy of the trees, and rising into the vast, open embrace of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is a delicate, invisible ocean of air that blankets our planet, filtering the light of the sun and holding the warmth necessary for life to thrive. It is a shared sanctuary, belonging to no one and yet vital to everyone. Within this swirling, boundless ocean, we find the gentle, invisible presence of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. In their natural balance, they are essential, a warm blanket on a cold night. But as human activity releases more of these gases, the blanket grows heavier, trapping more heat, and altering the gentle rhythms of the Earth's climate. Here, our compass of environmental stewardship introduces us to a vital, guiding concept known as the social cost of carbon. This is a quiet, powerful metric, a way of translating the invisible, far-reaching impacts of a single ton of carbon dioxide emissions into a tangible, measurable value. It is the monetary expression of the long-term damage done by that tiny, invisible addition to the atmosphere. When you hear the word social cost of carbon, do not think of cold mathematics or rigid economics. Instead, think of it as a bridge of empathy, a tool that allows us to see the future. It captures the ripples that stretch across decades and centuries, accounting for the changing patterns of the rain, the slow rise of the ocean tides, the shifting of agricultural lands, and the health of communities across the globe. By embedding the social cost of carbon into our cost-benefit analyses, we are making a profound, mindful commitment to the future. We are acknowledging that the atmosphere is not a limitless void where our impacts vanish, but a delicate, sensitive system that remembers what we place into it. Visualize the social cost of carbon as a glowing, protective light wrapping around the Earth, a light that guides professionals, engineers, and planners toward choices that honor the atmosphere. When a project is proposed, this guiding light illuminates the true cost of energy consumption, the hidden price of emissions, and the deep value of sustainability, gently steering our collective ship away from the rocky shores of short-term thinking and into the deep, calm waters of long-term preservation. With each breath you take, the air feels cooler, cleaner, and more refreshing. You are deeply connected to the earth, grounded in the knowledge that stewardship is a quiet, continuous act of love and responsibility. The compass of environmental stewardship is not an external instrument, but a deeply internalized wisdom that resides within the heart of every mindful professional. It is the soft voice that says we can do better, we can reach higher, and we can protect the silent, beautiful world that gives us so much. As the concepts of legal minimums, externalities, and the social cost of carbon slowly fade into a gentle, abstract hum in your mind, allow yourself to drift deeper into relaxation. The Earth continues its slow, majestic rotation, the rivers continue to flow, and the atmosphere continues to embrace the planet in a protective shell. You are a part of this beautiful system, and as you surrender to sleep, you do so with a peaceful heart, knowing the compass is set, the path is clear, and the world is being watched over with care, precision, and profound respect. Sleep now, resting in the quiet, undisturbed harmony of a balanced world. As we settle deeper into the quiet stillness of the night, allowing the breathing to slow and the muscles to release their tension, we turn our minds to a subject of profound integrity and quiet strength. We arrive gently at the 12th chapter of our journey, dedicated to the quiet resolve of the whistleblower. There is a peacefulness in doing what is right, a deep and settling calm that washes over the spirit when one aligns their actions with their moral compass. Imagine the gentle weight of professional responsibility, not as a burden, but as a steady, guiding light in a vast organization. It is the quiet courage that blooms in the hearts of those who notice when the delicate balance of ethics has been tipped. This is a journey of speaking truth to power, taken with a calm, measured, and unshakable resolve. As you listen to the cadence of these words, appreciate the profound peace that comes from knowing that structures of protection exist to cradle those who step forward. Professional obligations are woven softly into the very fabric of our working lives, serving as the invisible threads that hold the tapestry of society together. When an individual takes on a professional role, they are enveloped in a quiet promise, a gentle covenant made with the public, their colleagues, and themselves. This obligation is a peaceful anchor, grounding them in the principles of honesty, transparency, and care. To be a professional is to be a guardian of these values, keeping a watchful eye on the decisions that unfold around them. In the quiet observation of daily tasks, a discrepancy may arise, a soft discord in the harmony of standard operations. It is here that the professional obligation gently nudges the conscience, asking for a remedy. Recognizing this discord is an act of profound care, a restorative step taken to heal a fractured process. As your body sinks further into relaxation, consider the tranquility that accompanies the fulfillment of this duty, knowing there are individuals who carry this mantle of responsibility with grace. When a concern gently surfaces in the mind of a professional, there is a clear, paved path designed to carry their voice forward, known as the standard chain of reporting. This chain is built on the foundation of order and respect, designed to resolve issues with the least amount of turbulence. The journey begins softly, at the most immediate level of connection. The individual, armed with quiet observations and a sincere desire to mend what is broken, approaches their direct supervisor. This first step is often a private, calm conversation, a sharing of perspectives in a safe and structured space. It is the dropping of a single pebble into a still pond, creating gentle ripples that signal the need for change. In this initial interaction, the focus is on clarity and collaboration, presenting the facts as observed, without malice or haste. The supervisor is tasked with receiving this information with an open mind, listening closely to the quiet rustle of truth. Picture this calm exchange, a peaceful dialogue rooted in doing what is right. Yet, there are times when the gentle ripples of that first conversation do not reach the distant shores of resolution, and the quiet resolve of the whistleblower must carry them further along the path. If the direct supervisor is unable or unwilling to address the concern, the individual must calmly shift their gaze to the next level of the organizational hierarchy. This escalation is not an act of defiance, but a natural, methodical progression along the chain of reporting. They may seek out a department head, a higher-level manager, or a designated compliance officer whose role is to safeguard institutional integrity. Each step upward is taken with deliberate patience, a measured ascent up a staircase of accountability. Throughout this peaceful journey, the individual maintains a meticulous, quiet record of their efforts, documenting the dates and the nature of the concerns. This documentation serves as a reliable memory, a tranquil sanctuary of facts preserving the truth in its purest form. Imagine the calming structure of this process, elevating the truth step by cautious step. As the individual walks this path of quiet resolve, they do not walk alone, for they are accompanied by the steadfast, protective embrace of the law. Legal protections for whistleblowers exist as a sturdy, sheltering canopy, shielding those who speak up from the harsh elements of reprisal. These laws are carefully crafted, woven from the collective understanding that society thrives only when the truth is allowed to surface without fear. They recognize the inherent vulnerability of the employee who challenges the actions of their employer, and they offer a balancing weight, a promise of safety and security. Under the comforting shade of these legal frameworks, a whistleblower is granted the right to maintain their employment, to preserve their livelihood, and to continue their professional journey without facing demotion, suspension, or dismissal simply because they chose to honor their ethical obligations. The law acts as a silent guardian, standing vigilant in the background. Let the realization of this protective canopy bring a sense of deep comfort and relaxation to your resting mind. These legal safeguards extend beyond mere employment status, reaching into the subtle, everyday interactions of the workplace to ensure a holistic atmosphere of protection. They guard against the quiet, insidious forms of punishment, such as unfair evaluations, the sudden withdrawal of responsibilities, or the deliberate isolation from colleagues. The law recognizes that retaliation can take many forms, some loud and some nearly silent, and it casts a wide, protective net to catch them all. Furthermore, these protections often encompass confidentiality, offering the whistleblower a cloak of anonymity during the initial stages of an investigation. This allows them to step back and find peace while the appropriate authorities examine their claims. This layer of confidentiality is a gentle balm, soothing the natural anxieties that accompany the act of speaking out, providing a safe harbor where the individual can comfortably rest. As you drift closer to sleep, feel the reassuring presence of these protections, a warm, heavy blanket of security enveloping the brave and honest. At the most foundational level of this protective structure lies the formidable strength of the criminal code, a robust and unyielding pillar of justice that stands firmly against the forces of retaliation. The criminal code elevates the protection of the whistleblower from a matter of civil dispute to a matter of absolute societal imperative. Within its pages, there are specific provisions designed to deter and punish any employer who would dare to threaten, discipline, or adversely affect the employment of someone who has reported an offense. This is a profound and comforting truth: the act of retaliating against a whistleblower is, in itself, recognized as a serious transgression against the law of the land. The criminal code sends a clear, resonant message that echoes through the halls of every organization, confirming that silencing the truth through intimidation is entirely unacceptable. This powerful legal deterrent operates like a lighthouse in the dark, warning ships away from the rocky shores of misconduct. The inclusion of these protections within the criminal code signifies the ultimate respect for the quiet resolve we have been exploring. It transforms the professional obligation to report wrongdoing into an act that is actively defended by the full weight of the justice system. When an individual provides information to a person whose duties include the enforcement of law, the criminal code creates an impenetrable fortress around them. Any attempt to demote, terminate, or otherwise penalize an employee with the intent to compel them to stay silent can result in severe consequences for the retaliating party. This is the ultimate reassurance, a deep, resonant chord of safety that vibrates through the very core of our societal structure. The law does not merely suggest that whistleblowers be treated fairly, it demands it, backing that demand with serious mechanisms of enforcement. Let this knowledge wash over you like a slow, rhythmic tide, bringing with it a profound sense of security and deep, abiding peace. Allow your eyes to remain closed as you drift into a restful, restorative slumber, surrounded by the quiet, protective resolve of fairness and integrity. Welcome to Chapter 13, Navigating the Tides of Conflict and Global Ethics. Settle deeply into the gentle comfort of your space. Feel the supportive weight of your body resting upon the soft surface beneath you. Breathe in slowly, drawing the calm night air into your lungs, and breathe out completely, releasing the lingering tensions of the waking world. Imagine yourself standing upon a tranquil shore, watching the endless, rhythmic ebb and flow of the ocean. Each dark wave arrives with a soft whisper and retreats with a peaceful sigh. The tide is steadfast and endlessly patient. In the realm of professional practice, we too encounter powerful tides. These are the underlying currents of decisions, relationships, and responsibilities that shape our journeys. As you listen to the steady rhythm of your own breath, let your mind drift gently into the deep waters of understanding, exploring the quiet landscapes of ethical navigation. There is no urgency here, no rushing current to fight against. There is only the deliberate unfolding of knowledge, washing over you like the midnight surf. Allow your thoughts to float effortlessly, carried entirely by the supportive buoyancy of deep contemplation. As we sail upon these vast waters of professional life, we sometimes encounter hidden currents moving quietly beneath the seemingly calm surface. These shifting waters represent a conflict of interest. Picture a conflict of interest as a subtle shift in the water, a quiet place where two different tides meet and gently pull the vessel in opposing directions. In the professional world, a conflict of interest arises when a person holds competing loyalties or dual interests, where a personal devotion, a secondary obligation, or a financial connection might subtly sway the steady hand resting upon the tiller of professional judgment. It is a fleeting moment when the clear waters of duty become temporarily clouded by the stirring sands of personal gain. To safely navigate a conflict of interest is to cultivate a profound inner stillness, a mindful awareness of your own internal compass. When we are fully aware of these dual currents, we can adjust our sails and hold fast to the helm of unwavering integrity. We recognize the gentle pull, but we do not let it drag us off our honest course. Instead, we calmly acknowledge the shift in the tide, take a slow breath, and consciously choose the path that aligns seamlessly with the highest standards of trust and public duty. We ensure that our decisions are made not from the shadow depths of hidden bias, but from the clear surface of absolute impartiality. Let the concept of a conflict of interest simply be a gentle reminder to always check your inner compass, ensuring your true north remains fixed, allowing you to sail smoothly through the complexities of professional obligations. Venturing further into these expansive waters, our tranquil journey takes us beyond familiar local shores and out into the vast, interconnected oceans of international relations. Here, in the deep waters of global commerce, we encounter a steadfast lighthouse casting its long, protective beam across the rolling waves. This magnificent beacon of integrity is the Corruption of Foreign Public Officials Act. As you breathe in the cool air of our imaginary sea, visualize this vital act as a permanent constellation of guiding stars, a celestial map designed to ensure that business conducted across distant borders remains pure, honorable, and true. The Corruption of Foreign Public Officials Act is an essential framework of global ethics, carefully enacted to prevent the murky waters of bribery and undue influence from polluting the international landscape. It serves to remind us that the ethical standards we strictly uphold in our own quiet, domestic harbors must travel with us when we venture outward into unfamiliar ports. The Act strictly prohibits the offering, promising, or giving of any undue financial advantage to a foreign public official in order to obtain or retain international business. It ensures a calm and level playing field, where professional success is earned organically through the merit of one's hard work, rather than through whispered promises or hidden treasures passed quietly in the shadows. Let the comforting glow of this ethical lighthouse wash over you, bringing a deep, resonant sense of security in the knowledge that grand structures exist to uphold fairness across all the oceans of the world. As we continue our peaceful voyage across these ethical seas, let us slowly contemplate the different types of vessels we might choose to build and sail. These vessels represent the fundamental forms of business organization, each offering its own unique way to ride the gentle waves and catch the prevailing winds. Imagine, first, a solitary, beautifully crafted skiff, moving swiftly and quietly across the glassy water. This is the sole proprietorship. In a sole proprietorship, the solitary sailor and the ship are intimately and completely connected. There is absolutely no legal separation between the individual and the enterprise itself. It is a wonderfully simple, direct, and liberating way to sail, offering the captain complete, unhindered control over the rudder and the sails. Yet, with this beautiful freedom comes the full, undivided weight of the ocean's elements. The solitary sailor bears all the financial risks alone, and all the legal responsibilities rest gently but firmly upon their own individual shoulders. It is a vessel of pure independence, requiring a steady hand and a courageous heart to navigate the shifting tides in solitude. Now, picture a slightly larger, more collaborative vessel, perhaps a graceful catamaran with two parallel hulls, working together in perfect harmony to glide smoothly across the surface. This represents the partnership. In a partnership, two or more sailors join their professional destinies, pooling their resources, their physical strength, and their navigational knowledge. They openly share the map, they share the long watch through the night, and they share the ultimate bounty of the journey. The partnership is deeply built upon a solid foundation of profound trust and mutual understanding. As they sail forward, they must communicate in a continuous, rhythmic flow, ensuring their respective sails catch the wind in perfect unison. While the heavy burden of the voyage is delightfully shared, so too is the inherent liability. Every decision made by one partner echoes vibrationally through the entire vessel, making the bond between them as crucial as the very wood and rigging that keeps them afloat. Finally, imagine a grand, majestic galleon, a towering ship of the line built with immense strength to withstand the mightiest of storms and to voyage continuously across endless generations. This magnificent ship is the corporation. A corporation is entirely distinct and separate from the individuals who stand upon its wooden deck. It is a separate legal entity altogether, a sovereign vessel that possesses its own distinct identity, its own legal rights, and its own binding responsibilities. Those who invest their resources into the corporation are like the invisible wind that fills its massive, billowing sails, providing the necessary power to move forward, while their personal exposure to the turbulent seas is strictly limited only to the exact amount they have contributed. The corporation endures endlessly, even as captains and crew members inevitably come and go, remaining a permanent fixture upon the business horizon. Navigating a corporation requires complex rigging, a clear chain of command, and strict adherence to the intricate charts of corporate governance. No matter which magnificent vessel we choose to sail, there always comes a time when the waters become complex, when an innocent error in navigation is made, or when a hidden reef is unexpectedly grazed. In these vulnerable moments, the most powerful and restorative action a sailor can take is to swiftly drop the anchor of absolute truth. This is the deeply ethical practice of prompt, voluntary, and complete disclosure. Prompt, voluntary, and complete disclosure is exactly like a purifying, restorative rain across the ocean. It is the courageous and honorable act of coming forward at the very first sign of a misstep, without waiting for the threatening storm of external discovery to force your hand. It is prompt, meaning it happens immediately and without delay, catching the problem while the ripples on the water are still incredibly small. It is voluntary, arising from a deep, internal wellspring of moral duty, rather than being forcefully pulled out by external pressure or investigation. And it is complete, holding absolutely nothing back, offering the entire, unvarnished truth just as the vast ocean reveals everything under the brilliant, piercing light of the midday sun. By fully embracing prompt, voluntary, and complete disclosure, we immediately neutralize the hidden dangers of mistakes. As we slowly conclude our peaceful journey through the shifting tides of conflict and global ethics, let the profound lessons of the sea settle gently and permanently into your quiet mind. Feel the deep, resonating comfort of knowing that the steadfast compass of integrity is always within your immediate reach. The subtle currents of a conflict of interest can be easily recognized and peacefully avoided through mindful awareness. The protective beacon of the corruption of foreign public officials act shines brightly through the fog, ensuring fairness and honesty across the globe. Whether you sail the solitary skiff of a sole proprietorship, the synchronized catamaran of a partnership, or the enduring galleon of a corporation, you are fully equipped with the wisdom to navigate safely. And should the waters ever become murky or confusing, the cleansing, pure rain of prompt, voluntary, and complete disclosure will always wash your path completely clean. Let your breathing remain slow, deep, and perfectly steady. Allow the rhythmic, soothing sound of the ocean to carry you gently toward a deep, restorative sleep. Release any remaining thoughts, letting them float away like fallen leaves upon the receding tide. You are safe, you are secure, and you are drifting into a profoundly peaceful rest. As our journey through the vast, quiet landscapes of knowledge draws to a gentle close, we allow the mind to simply rest in the tranquil spaces between the thoughts. We have wandered together through the ancient corridors of human history, traced the delicate constellations mapped by early stargazers, and listened to the steady, enduring echoes of scientific curiosity. You have gathered fragments of understanding, luminous and soft, like embers glowing safely in the quiet dusk. But now, the time for seeking has passed, and the time for gathering is completely done. All the concepts, the gentle philosophies, and the intricate wonders of the universe we have explored are slowly settling deep within you, finding their own perfect places in the quiet architecture of your memory. There is nothing left to figure out, nothing left to analyze, and absolutely nothing more you need to do tonight. Beyond the walls of your room, the world is mirroring this profound, beautiful slowing down. Imagine the vast, sleeping city that surrounds you, stretching out in every direction under a canopy of deep, midnight blue. The frantic, vibrating energy of the waking day has long since dissolved, replaced by a deep, collective stillness that covers the streets like a blanket of fresh snow. The towering buildings stand as silent guardians, their dimmed lights flickering like exhausted stars. Millions of minds are resting, dreaming, wrapped securely in the heavy velvet of the night. The metropolis itself breathes with a slow, rhythmic pulse, rising and falling with the deep, unconscious sighs of its inhabitants. You can feel this very rhythm echoing in your own chest. With every slow, deliberate inhale, you draw in the quiet, undisturbed peace of the midnight hour. With every long, languid exhale, you release the final remnants of wakefulness, sinking heavier and deeper into the soft support beneath you. The sleeping city breathes, and you breathe with it, perfectly synchronized in a silent, nocturnal waltz. Gradually, the distinct sounds of the night are beginning to lose their sharp edges, blurring beautifully into a comforting, endless tapestry of ambient sound. The distant, muted hum of a passing car on a wet street, the gentle, rhythmic rustle of wind moving through unseen branches, the low, steady vibration of the sleeping buildings themselves, all of these individual notes are slowly merging together. They weave themselves seamlessly into a continuous, soothing blanket of pure white noise. This sound is a gentle, rhythmic tide, washing over the shores of your consciousness, smoothing away the intricate footprints of the day's waking thoughts. It is a soft, comforting static hum that fills the empty spaces in the dark, creating a perfectly safe, acoustic cocoon around your resting body. Let your fading awareness float endlessly on this gentle sea of white noise. It carries no information, requires no interpretation, and makes no demands of your tired mind. It is simply the sound of the universe resting in a state of perfect equilibrium. As you listen to this continuous, formless hum, you can feel the boundaries of your own physical form beginning to soften, blurring into the comforting darkness. The wisdom you have absorbed tonight is no longer a collection of ideas, but a quiet, glowing essence that warms you from the inside out. It is a profound, silent knowing that the world is safely tending to itself, that the stars will keep their silent watch, and that you are permitted to let go of everything. Surrender entirely to this slow, rhythmic breath, to the soft, fading hum of the sleeping world around you, and allow yourself to drift completely into the deep, uninterrupted stillness of pure, restorative sleep.